Hey guys, it's me, Matheus. Dude, why I was singing? Oh my god! So yeah. So we are streaming. So yeah, right. So let me do the. So yeah, let me self promote here. My stream here. So yeah, I got a like. Who can that might be? Okay, guys. Oh my god, who was that? So yeah, I'm just okay. We will start the video. We will start it. I just have to self promote this on any on the other servers. Oh, let me do this here first. There we go. I just burp. Not sure if you guys heard it. Oh god, that scared me. The notification here. So I think I'm ready. Yeah, I'm just gonna start the video. I'm just gonna start it. So let's go. So, right, guys. So the video we are gonna react to is the Nintendo Lost Media Iceberg Explain. So yeah, this is the first time I react to an iceberg video. Yeah, this should be fun. And this is gonna be a long stream because this is gonna be a long stream. Is 1 hour long stream. It's 1 hour long. So let's do this. And let's do this. Wait, hold on. Hold on a second. The quality. Let me put better quality here. There we go. That's better. Oh, wait, crap. Damn it. Okay, there we go. Okay, I think I'm buffering a little. Yeah, oh boy. Okay, no, I'm not. Okay.
Rabbit hole. No matter your scene, there is always something at risk of being lost to time, and devoted fans doing their part to keep it from being forgotten. For me, I like video games, and one of my favorites is Nintendo. Their games innovate and inspire.
Everybody
and
loves
it's
Nintendo.
Safe to say many people think the same thing. Since Nintendo has been around for over 100 years, there's bound to be some lost media. I've talked
it does
about
have
Nintendo
lost media.
games and lost media before, but I figured why not have everything in one place? So behold, the lost Nintendo media iceberg.
That's a lot.
This goes over many things, from canceled games to failed pitches, non-gaming stuff, as much as I could find and fit in. This only goes over stuff that has some official involvement from Nintendo or their IPs, and no hoaxes. Sorry, Super Mario Galaxy DS Chads. This video is long enough as it is. And it's only Nintendo. How bizarre can this iceberg get? Also, links to everything are in the iceberg chart in the description for further reading and watching. And with that forward out of the way, let's jump into the lost Nintendo media
Let's see these lost media. Level 1.
64 disc drive. The Nintendo 64, despite how much nostalgia people hold for the thing, is a graveyard of canceled games. Where the PlayStation and Sega Saturn had more games than the 64. Between the 64 itself being hard to develop for, Nintendo also spent a good chunk of time and money making an ambitious add-on for the system called the 64 disc drive, 64DD for short. Development on the 64DD was not an easy one, with constant delays and promises not being met. At some point, Nintendo realized that the thing was going to be a flop.
Yeah, it will be. It will be a flop because the image here.
It was a commercial failure with only 15,000 units sold and only 10 games released for it, 4 of which being Mario Artist titles. The US release was cancelled with only one official US DD being found, and whatever games that were being developed for the 64 DD either got retooled into 64 GameCube titles or just got canned outright. So if you want a drinking game for this iceberg, drink every time I bring up the 64 DD. Digital only 3DS, Wii, DSi, and Wii U games. A side effect of digital storefronts is that they will go down. Nintendo took down the DSi eShop in 2017, Wii in 2019, and 3DS and Wii U in 2023.
Yeah, I remember that.
Some games have seen ports. Stuff like DLC or virtual console titles aren't so lucky. While it does suck that those shops are down, I can imagine Nintendo wasn't making much, if any, money from those storefronts.
It's like you cannot buy any games on the eShop anymore because Nintendo shut down them.
Digging, you can find some games that were on the service, but we'll leave it at that. Super Nintendo CD-ROM. Prior to the PlayStation, Nintendo and Sony were collaborating to make a console together, which would have been an add-on for the Super Nintendo. However, discussions fell apart as Sony would have had final oversight and royalties over games published on the CD-ROM add-on. Instead of renegotiating the contract, then President Hiroshi Yamauchi made a new partnership with Philips, and that turned out well.
Yep, the CD.
Too many toasters.
So many toasters.
You know what they say?
All
toast.
Sega and Sony tried to collaborate after the Super Nintendo CD fell apart, but similar issues stopped that collaboration from happening. So in a way, Sega and Nintendo created their biggest rival in the gaming industry. According to Wikipedia, 200 to 300 units of the Super Nintendo CD-ROM were made, but after the deal fell through, they were all destroyed. At least one unit has surfaced and is in safekeeping. Virtual Boy titles. The Virtual Boy was Nintendo's biggest flop.
It was
even
biggest
a year on the market and selling less than 1 million units. Nintendo forced Gunpei Yokoi to shove the thing out into market before the thing was ready, and after the 64 drop, Nintendo happily abandoned the system. With the Virtual Boy only being on the market for so long, lots of games were cancelled for it, with some such as Bound High being near completion and dumped online, other games not being much more than some mock-ups. The games that did release for the system have not seen any remakes or ports for modern consoles. Shame, as titles like Virtual Boy Wireland and Jack Bros are actually really good and need more love.
Yeah, they're like the Wireland game.
Super Mario 64 2. One of the many games that was in development for the 64 DD
And
was a
cancel. Let's
sequel to
cancel.
Mario 64. It would have had multiplayer in it. Other things kept getting
Yeah.
away, and ultimately, the
I
failure
think
of the
I
64
heard of this
DD
before
put the
this
sequel
year.
down for good. It's said that the stress of trying to get Mario 64 2 off the ground was the reason why Miyamoto doesn't direct games anymore. Super Mario 128.
Okay, yeah,
A
this
tech
I
demo
heard
for the
of. It was
GameCube that showed
canceled.
Mario running around while he reproduced
That's
asexually.
about the
For a
footage.
while, it was
It
thought that
would be a
this game
fun
was going
game,
to be the
but
next Mario
apparently it
game
was canceled.
until 2006 when Miyamoto confirmed that it was canceled. The
Damn.
next major Mario game after 64 was Sunshine, and the idea of a bunch of characters running around was realized in Pikmin, and some of the physics would inspire the later game Super Mario Galaxy.
Yeah.
Super Mario 35 and 3D All-Stars.
Oh yeah,
For Mario's
I know.
35th
We
anniversary,
know
there
this.
were two
You
major
can buy. You
games,
can get.
Mario
You cannot.
35 and 3D All-Stars. 35
I was gonna say you cannot get Mario Bros 35 and Super Mario Bros 3 All Stars. Super Mario 3 All Stars. On the the Nintendo Switch eShop. Yeah, because 35 you cannot play anymore. 3D All Stars. No, can you get the game online on any like can you get on Amazon? I'm not sure. But let
was a
him explain
free-to-play
here.
online game where you play through Mario 1 against 34 other people in a survival game akin to Tetris 99 or Pac-Man 99. I played it a bit, but never got any wins. I really hope Nintendo revisits this idea. 3D All-Stars had Mario 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy in one cartridge. It was a nice deal, and a massive dick move. Nintendo decided to discontinue Mario 35 and take the collection off the eShop.
Damn.
At the very least, 3D All-Stars does have a physical copy you can find and enjoy
Oh
Mario
yeah,
64 and Galaxy on.
yeah.
Not Sunshine, that game sucks.
Oh wow.
Mario, Pichihime
Oh
Kyushitsu
yeah,
Dai
dude, this I know.
Sakusen.
I don't.
I talked a lot about Lost Nintendo Anime in my Lost Anime Iceberg video,
Hmm.
but why not have everything in one place? I'll try to be brief. The mission to rescue Princess Peach was released when Mario 2 dropped in Japan. It had a theatrical release, then got a rental-only VHS and Betamax release. A person named Mendinso found the tape and uploaded it online. I think the 2023 Mario movie is a smidge better than this one, but that might be recency bias. Zelda.
That movie
One
was
of the
like
most
fine. That movie
infamous
was fine.
examples of vaporware in the Zelda
The new
community,
Mario movie is way
not
better.
gaming as a whole. Ocarina of Time, originally Zelda 64, had a long development process, and the earliest footage of the game resembles little of what the final product looked like. Zelda 64 was planned for the 64 DD, but when development on the thing took longer than expected, Zelda 64 was retooled into a standalone 64 game, which we all know and love as Ocarina of Time. Zelda was supposed to be an expansion of Ocarina with new dungeons, items, and features such as a mask maker. Between delays on the 64 DD and Eiji Aonuma taking the Zelda team to work on Majora's Mask, Zelda was scrapped. It's been
Damn.
said that Master Quest is the closest thing we'll see of Zelda,
Yeah.
but that's nothing more than some remixed dungeons. Nintendo would never do this, but a remake of Ocarina of Time with the features from Zelda on the Switch would be very tight. I think the Switch is just a smidge more powerful and popular than the 64 DD. Zelda Gaiden. Gaiden was meant to be a sequel to Ocarina, but the team was afraid of the game being too similar to Ocarina of Time. After a short development cycle, we got Majora's Mask. Not too much is known about Gaiden, other than there was going to be an adult Link mask and it would have taken place over 7 days instead of 3.
Oh wow.
Earthbound Beginnings. The first game in the Mother series was supposed to release in North America back in the day, but was cancelled due to how expensive the game would have been to localize and how late it was released in the system's library. The game was translated and a prototype cart went up for sale in 1998, so that ROM floated around the internet for a while. In a surprise move, Nintendo released Mother 1 as Earthbound Beginnings for the Wii U. Mother 3 is 64 DD.
Mother 3.
The story of Mother 3 is a long one, starting development for the Super Nintendo CD,
Wow,
then the
man, they
Super
canceled this,
Famicom,
man.
then 64 DD for the GBA in 2006. Mother 3 was in a playable state on the 64, but only the first level. The ROM still exists, but more than likely it's somewhere in Nintendo's archives. Given that Shigesato Itoi has said that he's done with the Mother franchise, I don't think we'll ever see the original version of Mother 3 ever realized.
Damn.
Also saying that, it has not stopped Itoi from merchandising the hell out of his series. You already know what I'm going to be wearing to the function. Metroid Dread DS build. Another infamous case of vaporware. Dread was announced for the DS back in 2005 and nothing came from it. According to Yoshio Sakamoto, the DS wasn't powerful enough for Sakamoto's vision, and the game just kind of slipped away.
Wow.
After Nintendo got Mercury Steam to make the Samus Returns remake for the 3DS, they brought Dread to life for the Switch in October 2021.
Oh yeah.
There are eyewitness reports of the DS build, as well as the complete script, but no footage or screens have been leaked of the DS Dread build. Pikmin 4 original build. In 2015, Nintendo said that Pikmin 4 was, quote, nearly complete with nothing to show the title. Some thought that Hey Pikmin on the 3DS was this title, but that wasn't the case.
That game
Pikmin
sucked.
4 was thought to be vaporware, but out of nowhere in 2022, Nintendo showed the game off, with it releasing in July 2023.
Yeah,
so I
this
wonder
one
what
here,
changes
Pikmin
Pikmin
4.
4 went through from that announcement in 2015 to its final release, and why it got stuck in limbo for so long.
Oh yeah.
Pokemon Stars. A while back, I said you could do a Lost Pokemon Media Iceberg video, and here I am doing a Lost Pokemon Media Iceberg video, much to my dismay. One of the more infamous games in the Pokemon series is Pokemon Stars. It's speculated that it would have been a follow-up to Sun and Moon for the 3DS. There are two conflicting reports on this title. One is that Nintendo wanted a Pokemon title early on in the Switch's life as a trump card in case the thing wasn't selling well. The other theory is that a Pokemon game was being tested for the Switch, and a Nintendo employee thought it was the fabled Stars title. The first Pokemon game to come to Switch was a port of Pokken Tournament. Sun and Moon did get follow-ups with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon for the 3DS. There are reports of Pokemon Stars, but nothing conclusive saying that this was ever a real title. Legend of Dratini, English dub. I covered a good chunk of Lost Lost.
Oh yeah, no, I know that episode. That got banned because of real guns, I think. Yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
Being held at gunpoint.
Yeah.
That was from the episode Legend of Dratini.
Yeah. So yeah, when I first of all, like, why would they put guns on Pokemon? Like, what? Pokemon is not supposed to have guns. Like, what the hell? The hell, man. Yeah, but yeah, the episode was banned. It was never dubbed here, I think. It was never dubbed in all my country, Brazil. Well, yeah, because it was banned because guns.
Dratini. It was skipped over in the English broadcast as that scene was deemed inappropriate by standards at the time. And voice actor Eric Stewart confirmed that they never recorded a dub for that episode.
Yeah.
Computer Warrior Porygon English dub.
Oh yeah, the Porygon episode.
You remember in the Pokemon anime where Ash just magically had a Porygon in his collection? Well, here's how he got that Pokemon. The episode Computer Warrior Porygon had a scene of flashing lights which caused illnesses in over 10,000 viewers in Japan. After this incident,
everybody knows that.
It was banned from re-airing in Japan, and the Pokemon anime went on hiatus for 4 months.
Damn.
The question is if this.
I mean, only because episode you should have skipped the episode. Should have
actors from the 4Kids dub have.
Okay, so I was gonna say, you aired the episode. You should have skipped. You should have cut the Caesar part, the flashing lights part. That because that wouldn't happen. But nope.
Conflicting reports, with Veronica Taylor saying that they never dubbed the episode in the first place, whereas Eric Stewart and Maddie Blaustein said that they did produce a dub, but it never aired. My thoughts are that 4Kids never got a master tape of this episode, and Stewart and Blaustein got confused with Porygon's appearance from another episode. Pokemon Battle Aboard the Saint Anne. When the Pokemon anime came to America, it was decided to air the action-packed episode Battle Aboard the Saint Anne as the first episode. There was a narrator saying that this episode was a special preview of the series. It aired on September 7th, 1998, and wasn't found until December 4th, 2016, thanks to a person named Squiggle M. Clam Sprite. What a name. Limited Amiibos. Amiibos were a good idea from Nintendo making a physical product.
They were.
Amiibos are still being made, but aren't pushed as much in the Switch era as they were during the Wii U and 3DS.
During that time. At the time, yeah.
Shelves being clogged with Dr. Mario Amiibo. The poor reception to Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival on the Wii U, and in general, the Toys to Life style of gaming dying out after several flops.
Damn.
Led to Nintendo
dying
back on Amiibos. There were a few Amiibos that had limited release. In general, the Toys to Life style of gaming dying out after several flops.
Yeah, like those here.
Nintendo dialing back on Amiibos. There were a few Amiibos that had limited releases, most notably a Golden Mario, which looked cool but was just a standard Mario Amiibo with a fancy coat of paint on it. According to the most expensive Amiibo is the Quibi Amiibo, released for Box Boy. Dinosaur Planet, what could have been the most ambitious 64 title being developed by Rare. Despite that ambition, it was retooled into Star Fox Adventures for the
Oh
GameCube.
yeah, yeah,
Miyamoto
yeah.
thought that the game looked like a Star Fox title and suggested to Rare to make it into an official Star Fox game. Despite some trepidation, Rare acquiesced and we got Star Fox Adventures.
Star
The
Fox
chance for
Adventures.
higher sales via brand recognition
I never
also
played that game
probably played a
before.
small part in that.
I did play
The cynical view
Assault.
is that Nintendo didn't want Rare leaving with a brand new IP, but let's not go there. A ROM surfaced in February 2021, so it's possible to see what could have been one of the last great Nintendo 64 titles. Also, fun fact, my first Star Fox title was Adventures on the GameCube. If someone wants to send me a copy, I would not be against it. Star Fox 2, another legendary case of vaporware. Star Fox 2 would have been a massive game for the Super Nintendo, with big graphics and a blend of real time strategy and spaceship shooting. Nintendo cancelled the game despite it being done, as it would have made Nintendo look weak with the PlayStation and Sega
Mm.
Saturn being out. Not to
Mm.
mention Nintendo screwing over Argonaut
Hmm.
games. Nintendo officially released the title on the Super Nintendo Mini in 2017, and it's easily playable on the Nintendo Switch Online service.
All right then. Level 2.
Satellaview. In Japan, Nintendo and Sento Giga made an add-on for the Super
Never heard of
Famicom
this.
called the Satellaview. Instead of cards, games would have been broadcasted to the system at certain times. While Giga thought
No,
the game was
no.
a success, Nintendo thought it was a failure. It being
Mm.
released when the
Oh.
Saturn and PlayStation were out in Japan didn't help. There were a total of 114 games released for the Satellaview. Titles ranged from remakes to original titles to simple stuff like voiceovers. Since the games were only on the system for so long, many titles have been lost to time. Some games have
Ugh.
been found, others not so much. The only titles that have been officially remade or ported have been the 4 BS Fire Emblem chapters for the DS remake of Mystery of the Emblem with no voice acting, and Radical Dreamers being included in the Chrono Cross remaster. Wii Connect 24. I long for that warm blue light around the
Oh, the
Wii's
Wii
physical
Connect
drive.
24.
With the Wii, as long as it was connected online, you could download software or use the free apps like Everybody
Yeah,
Votes and check them
the
out.
Wii Connect
The most
they
unique thing
completely
about Wii
lost.
Connect was that you could download demos to your DS.
Hmm.
I did this a few times
Cool.
actually. I remember
Oh.
playing a Dragon Ball game on my DS. I also found out that you needed Wii Connect 24 to 100% Kingdom Hearts recoded on the DS. Since the Wii's online services are offline and the DS
Yep.
deletes data after a certain amount of
They're
time,
offline now.
some of the demos are lost to time. Reconnect 24 is a fan effort to restore some of the Wii Connect features. Miitomo. The first of Nintendo's mobile efforts was this little slice of social media called Miitomo. I played it a bit during undergrad, but there wasn't enough for me to keep going back to it. Nintendo pulled the plug on it in 2018. Oh yeah, that Dr. Mario game is also down. Who cares?
Who are you talking about
Mario's
that Dr.
Wacky
Mario game?
Worlds. One of the games that was going to be on the CDI.
Mario's Wacky
This was
Worlds?
a sequel of sorts to Super Mario World, with Mario going into real-world locations.
Oh god,
Because
look
the
at this.
CDI kind of sucked,
Yeah.
Wacky Worlds never saw the light of day. A very early ROM is playable. Super Mario Spikers. Snakes Little
Spikers.
Games, who made Strikers on the GameCube, pitched a sequel for the Wii. It would have been a volleyball game with wrestling elements thrown in.
Ah.
I can't think of too many sports that would not improve with more wrestling involved. It would make soccer more entertaining, that's for sure. Anyway, Nintendo thought the wrestling elements were too violent and went against their code of honor, whatever that means. The prototype of the Wii game was playable, but has yet to leak.
Damn.
Club Mario.
Oh, a bit.
You want to relive the worst of the 90s?
Oh,
Well,
Mario.
here you go.
We got killer guests today too, man. Plus a gnarly cartoon. Tell them.
Yeah, the gnarly cartoon is Toad gets kidnapped.
Club Mario was made to temporarily replace the live-action episodes of the Super Mario Bros.
Oh.
Super Show. Deke
Okay, I never-
being an official release is out of the question. So we're leaving Lux to heaven that anyone has the missing episodes recorded on VHS. The Power of One. To promote the Pokemon 2000 movie, WB aired a half-hour TV special. Hosted by Kel Mitchell, there was a sneak peek
Oh,
of the
yeah.
movie, guest appearances by celebrities like NSYNC and Christina Aguilera, and performances by Dream Street and Youngstown. Some clips from The Power of One were on the DVD for Pokemon 2000, and thankfully Lost Media Wiki user Pop Rewind found the entirety of the special. Watching this made me really
Good job
for this
to
era,
find
and this is coming from someone who wasn't even into Pokemon. Detective Pikachu, Danny DeVito audio. Before
What?
God's Perfect Idiot, Ryan Reynolds was cast as Detective Pikachu. There was demand for Danny DeVito to voice him. Visual effects producer Greg Baxler revealed that they used audio from DeVito's role as Frank Reynolds in some test footage. This is fairly common in
Ah.
productions to use audio for something else to see how things sync up or sound. In fact, that's how Smash Mouth's opus All-Star was used in Shrek. It's Good to know in another reality, DeVito would have been Pikachu. I personally think that the movie would have been better if Christian Bale was Pikachu doing his Batman voice. Oh, Pikachu, take her out back. Make sure she's not seen.
that would be.
Detective Pikachu 2. Speaking of which, there was a sequel to Detective Pikachu greenlit 4 months before the release of the first movie. While the movie was a success,
Yeah, yeah, I do remember. I remember that movie. I remember watching that movie. I watched it in theaters, by the way. I haven't seen that movie in ages.
the movie wasn't quite the smash hit that Warner Bros. hoped for. Between that, tensions between Legendary and Warner, Detective Pikachu 2 hasn't manifested. In March 2023, Jonathan Krysell was in discussions to direct the film, with Chris Galetta writing the scripts. Though
Hmm.
with the 2023 Writers and Actors Guild strikes, Detective Pikachu 2 is definitely on hold. So this is here on the offshoot chance that Detective Pikachu 2 gets canceled.
Oh,
Weirdly enough,
man, that
the
would be
game
suck.
is getting a sequel for the Switch. Because
Yeah,
of all the 3DS games out there, people really wanted a Detective
Dick.
Pikachu sequel.
Well, yeah,
Put Blue Ball and Yellow
Detective
Submarine
Pikachu
into it, and
returns.
just port Kid
Coming on
Icarus
Switch.
Uprising to the Switch already. Pokemon Gold and Silver Space World Demo. After Pokemon Red and Blue released, Game Freak began work on the follow-ups, Pokemon 2, Gold and Silver. They dropped the 2 title. Gold and Silver were built to take advantage of the Super Game Boy, but after Red and Blue released in the West to a huge success, Gold and Silver would get delayed. Game Freak dropped the Super Game Boy capability in favor of the Game Boy Color. The 97 demo of Gold and Silver was a very different game than the final product, and for the longest time, only a few images and videos were online. A 4chan user got a hold of the original ROMs and posted them online. How they got the ROMs is unknown.
Oh,
Pokemon
oh,
Pink.
Pokemon Pink. Unconfirmed. Okay, hold on, guys. Hold on a second. I'm doing. So let me do something here. Let me do something. I'm back. All right, so let's continue the video. Continue the video.
A rumored companion game to Pokemon Yellow was Pink, with Clefairy allegedly being the one for the cover. There's a reference to Pink within the source code of Yellow, so a Pink game was probably considered at some point, but Nintendo nor Game Freak have said anything about Pink, and whatever it might have been is purely speculation. Pokemon
Ah,
64. For as big as Pokemon is on the handhelds, it never got a
Pokemon
proper
64.
console RPG installment until Colosseum and Gale of Darkness on the GameCube. There was one RPG planned for the 64 on, you guessed it, the 64 DD. Shigeru Miyamoto and Tsunekazu Ishihara said that there were 3 Pokemon titles on the DD. What we got was Hey You Pikachu, Snap, and Stadium. So where's the RPG? Cancelled. The only proof of the game existing is from an interview with Miyamoto, and no art or anything has been found. Animal Crossing 2. For a hot minute, several websites had Animal Crossing 2 as a
Animal
game in
Crossing
the
2.
works for the GameCube. Some screens for the sequel were found, but they were actually screens from the first title. There were 2 Animal Crossing games on the GameCube in Japan, the second of which was an updated version of the first title with e-reader stuff called Dobutsu no Mori E+. And if it wasn't clear, that title only came out in Japan. So it's safe to assume
Wow.
that people thought that E Plus was a sequel. Whether E Plus had a planned release in the West is unknown, but I doubt it.
Oof.
Fire Emblem 1 Switch port. To celebrate Fire Emblem's anniversary, Nintendo released an
I
official
never
trailer
played Fire
the
Emblem.
first game on the Famicom for the Switch.
Fire Emblem game.
However, it was a limited purchase for some reason, probably to drive up demand. Unless you downloaded it when it was up or picked up the collector's set, you are SOL on getting an official version of this title. Xenoblade Chronicles X Data Packs. After playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and Future Redeemed, yeah, Xenoblade X is still the best Xenoblade game. X was by far the most demanding game on the Wii U, and Nintendo released data packs on the eShop to help with the performance of the game. With the Wii U eShop gone, you can no longer download the packs. The game is playable if you buy a secondhand Wii U and a copy of X, but it is not the optimal experience for the title. This is only here because I just really want an X port to the Switch already.
All right. Level 3.
The Work Boy. We've all
Work
been
Boy.
there. You want to play WWF King of the Ring on the Game Boy, but you have to do your taxes. The Work Boy would have solved this
You gotta do your
problem.
taxes.
Developed by Fabtech, this little device had a working keyboard and some additional software. It never got made because when it would have released, it would have been more expensive than the Game Boy itself. And I don't think too many people wanted to use their Game Boy for work stuff. Gaming archivist Liam Robertson got his
Why would they
hands
do
on the
that?
only Work Boy known in existence. Super Mario RPG 2. Before Paper Mario, this was going to be the next Mario RPG. It was planned for
Yeah.
the 64DD and was being developed by Intelligent Systems. Due to the falling out between Square and Nintendo during the 64 era and the failure of the 64DD, RPG 2 was remade into Paper Mario.
Yeah, Paper
Mario
Mario.
and Sonic
Yeah.
Sochi
That's
2014
how
3DS.
it became Paper Mario.
The Mario and Sonic Olympic games have always come out for the consoles and the
Oh,
handhelds.
I'll confirm for
But
you. Yes.
curiously, the 2014 game skipped the
Yeah.
3DS.
Yeah.
There are some eyewitness reports of a 3DS build, and Polygon has some screenshots of the alleged 3DS version on their site, but they pulled those screens. Neither Sega or Nintendo have said anything about a 3DS version. The rumor was that Nintendo wasn't happy with the Wii U version of Sochi 2014, and efforts went towards making Rio 2016 better on the Wii U and 3DS. Incidentally, Rio 2016 had a limited print run and is considered one of the rarest games on the Wii U.
Wow. Damn.
Giles Goddard F-Zero. Ex-Nintendo employee Giles Goddard revealed via Digino Gaming that he had a pitch for an F-Zero game for the Switch that would have had physics-based gameplay. He was prepared to release his pitch to the public, but backed off in case Nintendo ninjas went after him. The pitch didn't get the green light due to budgetary issues and Nintendo having little interest in a new F-Zero game. Hey Giles, here's an idea. Just take off the F-Zero branding and just make an original game. I'd be interested in it. F-Zero Wii U. An early rumor
F-Zero
of
Wii U.
Wii U's life was that Criterion was contacted by Nintendo of Europe to make an F-Zero game for the Wii U as a launch title. It never happened due to them being busy with a Need for Speed title. This rumor
Wow.
was treated as fact for years until Alex
Yeah,
Murphy,
F-Zero really
a
doesn't
junior
count about
employee at
games
Nintendo of
these
Europe, was
days.
shooting out ideas, and a Criterion F-Zero title never made it through EA's chain of command. Even if it did, Ward admitted that he isn't a fan of the series and shouldn't be the ones to make an F-Zero game. Project Dream. Before Banjo evolved into the bear we all know and love, it went through a patch of development hell. It was originally started on the Super Nintendo as an RPG with a graphic style akin to Rare's own Donkey Kong Country games. The Super Nintendo was not powerful enough to make the kind of game that Rare was gunning for, and they moved Project Dream to the 64. They changed the protagonist from an anime kid to a bear, and changed the game from an action RPG to a platformer, and the rest is history. No ROMs from Project Dream have surfaced. Banjo 3E. At Space World 2000, there was a tech demo of
Banjo
Banjo
3.
and Friends being played on the GameCube.
Yeah, that was.
Naturally, people thought this was going to be the third Banjo game, especially as the third title was joked about in 2E. Creative designer Greg Mail said that 3E was never a game, and the Banjo game shown at Space World
And that would
was
be
just a tech demo.
there's-
Three Houses, Christina V and Chris Niosi audio.
Alright. Okay, and also, we don't talk about that freaking Banjo Kazooie game, that terrible one called Nuts and Bolts. That one is garbage.
Originally for Three Houses, V was cast as Eligard and Niosi was male Byleth. V was replaced by Tara Platt in the final product for unknown reasons. It was not an NDA break, as she voiced Lachesis and Tatiana for Heroes. Some of V's Edelgard can be heard in early promos for Three Houses.
Me orders. It's time to measure your worth as an instructor. Such a brutal, irrational world we live in.
As for Niosi, he clearly broke NDA, and he admitted to physical and emotional abuse on Twitter. Niosi's lines were replaced by Zach Aguilar in a patch and further appearances by Byleth. So I guess you can hear Niosi's Byleth if you don't update your game. Also, if I said the characters' names wrong, I don't care. Project Hammer. I remember the Wii pre-release cycle like it was yesterday. Hammer came up and I was like, okay. It was being developed by Nintendo Software Technology, NST for short. Development was a mess, with no clear direction for the title and it being too edgy for its own good.
Wow.
They attempted to
Really?
salvage that by retooling it into a family-friendly title called We Crush, but the core gameplay was not fun. The game was cancelled and NST has been
Yeah,
stuck
this
in
is
development support and application development ever since. Kirby GameCube games. Kirby had at least 4 GameCube
Kirby's
games that were all
Adventure
canned.
Plateau.
Tilt and Tumble 2 was shown off early in the Cube's life and it needed the Game Boy Advance link cable and a special cart to play, as it used motion controls. I
Oh,
assume
burp.
it was
This burp.
iced because it might have been too expensive to make. Ported to the Switch, I would buy it. The next summer, Kirby GCN, a 3D platformer, and
Damn,
Kirby
that would
Legend
be
of the
like
Stars, a 2D
that was
game
basically
with
that was
Kirby
basically gonna be
style.
the original, the first, the original
Because they had a hard
Kirby's
time
Forgotten
balancing
Land,
multiplayer
but
and single player.
that never
GCN
happened.
was canceled because it wasn't meeting Nintendo's standard of quality, and Legend of the Stars just wasn't coming together. Though, according to the Kirby Wikipedia, the 2D game was being made for the Wii. Some elements of the Kirby GC games would be reused in Kirby's Return to Dreamland on the Wii.
Yeah.
Argonaut Yoshi. One of Nintendo's biggest dick moves, the studio behind Star Fox, Argonaut Games, pitched a 3D platformer starring Yoshi to Nintendo. Despite Miyamoto liking
That's not
it,
Yoshi there.
Nintendo denied the pitch, and in combination with Star Fox 2 being cancelled, led to Argonaut to split with Nintendo. Argonaut would make Croc for the PlayStation, PC, Game Boy, and Sega Saturn. I had Croc back in the day, and I loved it. I don't think it aged that well, but I want to play it again. Anyway,
like
Mario
Mark.
64 ended up using elements of Argonaut's pitch in the final game. Miyamoto, who did like the original pitch, personally apologized to Argonaut staff about what happened. Argonaut went belly up in 2004, with their last major game being Catwoman. What a way to go out.
What the hell?
Stop and Swap.
What?
A planned feature for the 64 Banjo games that confused
Man, that
fans
was a
for years.
that was a
In
big move.
Kazooie, there are mystery
Stop and
eggs
wait.
and Ice Key that were planned to be used
Whatever.
for the sequel, Tui. How Stop and Swap would have worked is that you turned off Kazooie, then put Tui in your 64. The 64 could hold data for a short amount of time after it was shut off, so that's how Stop and Swap would have worked. Later revisions in the 64 hardware took out that feature, so Stop and Swap got cut from Tui, and took until the Xbox versions of the Banjo games for Stop and Swap.
Hold on a
to be
second.
used.
Hold on. No, don't play this. I don't want to play this audio here. Okay, got 2 likes here. All right, 2 likes on the stream. 2 likes, 2 likes. Okay, yeah, okay. Let's go back to the video.
I also read somewhere that DK64 was to be able to use the Stop and Swap feature, but I couldn't find much information about that. Factor 5 Kid Icarus. After Pitt was reintroduced to the gaming community with his revamped form in Brawl, demand soared for a new Kid Icarus title. Factor 5 got Nintendo's permission to make a new Kid Icarus title, and even gave them a model of Pitt to use. Then we got this art. It
What?
was not well received.
What?
There are many plot
We're not-
details known about
Okay, that's a
Factor 5,
terrible design.
but ultimately the game got canned. The game Factor 5 wanted to
Well,
make
I'm glad it got
far
canned
different
because-
from what Nintendo wanted in a Kid Icarus title, and more to the point, they didn't have a gameplay direction for the title. Even one of the programmers at Factor 5 admitted that they missed the point with Kid Icarus. Star Fox Armada. Upon making this video, I feel bad for Star Fox fans. The favorite series only has
Yeah.
8 games in it, 2 of which are actually good, and everything else being mid at best. And any
Yeah.
potential good games got canceled. Take, for example, Star Fox Armada from Retro Studios. It sounded ambitious with bounty missions and online play.
Yeah,
but the pitch didn't make it
Yeah,
past
Star Fox
Retro
doesn't
High
really
Rock.
got
Armada
doesn't
pitch
get
sounded
that
good,
much
and when
this
we did
much
get
love
Star
anymore.
Fox Zero, which was bad.
Yeah, Zero
Star
wasn't
Fox
good.
Grand Prix. Around 2018, a rumor circulated that Retro Studios was working on a Star
Man,
Fox
that's
racing
what
game
is Star
and
Fox
the
Game
F-Zero
Garden?
for
All
Switch.
been canceled, man.
Obviously, nothing came of this, so what happened? For a hot minute, it was thought that this was a hoax from Nintendo to flush leakers, but that wasn't the case. Long story short, YouTuber Roger Space made a logo for Star Fox Grand Prix for a video that he ended up making. He shared the logo to some friends, one of whom shared the logo for some clouts. A bunch of news sites got the logo and said, yeah, this sounds legit, run the story. Did you know gaming spent the better part of 2 years searching for the truth of this rumor, and it's just someone wanting that sweet, sweet internet clout. So there's that shot of copium for you Star Fox fans, and here's a shot of whiskey for me. Pokemon Winter Special, a clip show planned for the anime that would have aired on January 6, 1998. Good idea, as
thought-
people would have been getting back
Okay,
from the
whatever.
holidays around that time. It got pulled due to the Porygon incident, and
Ah,
said incident led to
of
the Pokemon
course.
anime getting put on a 4-month hiatus. Pokemon Fall Special. I guess the Pokemon anime just like to have a clip show to start the seasons. This clip show aired once on October 10th, 1997, and vanished after that. I mean, why would the Pokemon Company put a clip show episode on a VHS?
Yeah, why?
Whatever the case, the Pokemon Peru Facebook page found the clip show and uploaded it online. Pokemon Best Wishes and Uchu no Hahen. Both of these were animated specials made for planetariums in Japan in 2011 and 2014, respectively. Since they were made for planetariums, I assume that they need some kind of editing done to them to get them on a home release. Trailers of both are online.
Yeah,
Pokemon
so much
Picross.
trailer,
Early
not
in
the full
Pokemon's life,
movies.
there was going to be a Picross title for the Game
Wait,
Boy
hold on.
Color.
Let me see.
Pokemon Color editing
I can't remember if I've seen one of neither of these two movies. Have you guys seen any of these two movies here? Like I don't recognize these two. Maybe the right one I kind of recognize. The first one I can't remember. No, that doesn't look one. No, I don't recognize the first one. The one on the left I don't recognize. No. Second one I feel like I can't remember if I've seen it, but apparently it's been ages.
being done to them to get them on a home release. Trailers of both are online. Pokemon Picross. Early in Pokemon's
Ron.
life, there was going to be a Picross title for
That's
the Game Boy
canceled.
Color. It sadly got canceled for unknown reasons,
Hmm.
though 12 Pokemon puzzles were implemented into the
This doesn't even look fun.
Picross game.
Here,
A
on the
ROM of the
screen here.
Game Boy Color title was found during the 2020 Giga Leak. Meowth's Party. One of the many tech demos that was shown at Space World
Meowth's Party.
2000. This was inspired by a few episodes of the Pokemon anime
Hmm.
and showed Meowth and friends having a party. Sadly, no one was getting loco off that 4 loco here. The
Wow.
tech demo never became a full title, presumably because
Rip.
the concept didn't have enough meat to it to make a full game. Some ideas from this demo did get put into the Pokemon channel. Pokemon Crystal
The Pokemon
DLC.
channel.
In Japan, there was a link cable that could connect games to the net to play games online or get DLC for Game Boy titles. One game that had DLC was Pokemon Crystal. You got stuff like mini games and equipment. The data was saved to the internal battery, but Crystal's battery was not the strongest. And when the battery died, so went the DLC data. Not helping was the mobile adapter being a low seller. From the sounds of things, the Crystal DLC is gone with the death of the service. Zelda 128. Another tech demo shown up at, guess what? Space
Zelda
World 2000.
2020.
And guess what?
Aw.
It never became a full game. According to artists Yoshiki Haruhana and Satoru Takizawa, they didn't think a realistic direction would be a good idea for a Zelda title. Eventually, we would get Wind Waker for the GameCube, which was a very polarizing title at the
Yeah,
time.
Wind Waker was
but it has
amazing.
gained a fan base over time. Realistic Zeldas would return with 2006's Twilight Princess, which ended up selling far more than Wind Waker. Still, I would have liked to see a Zelda game on the GameCube with this art style.
Yeah.
Dragon King, aka Ryu-Oh. This was the
Right.
original version of Smash Bros.
Yeah.
Sakurai had a platform
Yeah, I
fighter
have
and
heard of
RC
this
game
before.
proposed to Nintendo. The higher-ups liked both ideas, but due to various issues, the fighter was picked for development. Sakurai was aware that fighters didn't sell well and proposed that Nintendo characters star in the game. Sakurai got the go-ahead to include Nintendo characters in the game, and the rest is history. For the longest time, only one screen of Dragon King existed.
Yep.
It wasn't until October
Yeah,
2022 when we would see the game in action, courtesy of Sakurai himself. Captain Falcon's moveset was inspired by Dragon King.
Oh yeah.
Slamfest 99. Remember the Smash 64 commercial? Of course.
Of course
it
I
was iconic.
remember.
Well, what if I told you that for promotion for the game, there was a live-streamed wrestling match using those
I didn't
costumes?
know this.
Well, that happened with Slamfest 99. It was very ambitious for the time,
Probably.
being a live-streamed event online in 1999. So where's the video? There's been many efforts to find the video for the event, but no dice. That said, thanks to efforts, we've gotten high-quality
And?
photos, advertisements, and a pic of the ticket. If this is ever found, I can imagine El Supersonic
So-
Q having the biggest orgasm of his life.
I would have liked that though. Well, level 4. Ooh boy.
Project Atlantis and Castle Mario. A planned successor for the Game Boy was in development called Project Atlantis. It might have had 4 face buttons and would have been a 32-bit system. Atlantis was put on the back burner due to internal reasons, mostly due to Pokemon Red and Blue giving the Game Boy a huge jolt of life. One of the games planned for the Atlantis was called Castle Mario, and the only record of this game existing was from a mention in EGM, which means that it's unknown if the game was real or not. Luigi's Mansion Space World 2000. This title actually started out on the 64 as an unrelated title, and eventually moved to the GameCube. Before the final product, There were 2 different demos shown off at Space World 2000 and E3 2001, and guess what? Neither ROM has been found. There are some
Damn.
differences between the tech demos and the final product, most notably this creepy game over screen.
Yeah,
It looks like something from a creepypasta.
Yeah, it does.
A bad one at that.
yeah, I remember that.
Super Mario Kart
Yeah.
R, a pre-release build of Mario Kart 64.
Oh yeah.
The R stands for rendered, not radical like it should have been. The main difference between R and 64 is that Magic Koopa was recorded
Yeah,
by
yeah, I remember
DJ,
that.
and in the Giga Leak, an unused track and some cut.
Yeah, I remember that. That when Mario Kart 64, I think Kamek was supposed to be in Mario Kart 64, but he got scrapped, got replaced by Donkey Kong. But no, he did come back to but in Mario Kart Tour he returned Mario Kart Tour, a playable character. He finally got playable in a Mario Kart game, but I mean that was a mobile. It was on the mobile. But anyways, on the actual Mario console, on Mario Kart Deluxe, the Booster Cards Pass Wave 5, he's now playable in Mario Kart Deluxe. Finally on a yeah. So yeah, I was actually happy with that. Yeah, same with PD Piranha. Wiggler, I wasn't expecting. Yeah, I was fine with Wiggler in Mario Kart 7. I didn't hate him. I didn't find him overrated. So yeah.
Items were found, though those assets could actually be found in the IQ version of Mario Kart 64. Mario Kart XXL, a tech demo made by Daenerys Entertainment. There's only one course and only Mario is playable. The cart did go up online for sale, but was bought by a private collector. Game preservation group Forest of Illusion tracked the buyer and dumped the ROM online. Super Mario Bros. Original release. One of my favorite facts about the first Super Mario Bros. Game is that the American release date is unknown. You think for something that big, people would know when it actually came out in America.
Wait, who's there? Knife. Say, please, can you say hi first? Do you remember me from streaming anywhere? What? What are you talking about? What? Okay, yeah, fair. Okay, thanks for saying hi.
The general consensus seems to be that it launched in October 1985, but other sources say that it launched in November that year, or even early 1986. Super Hornio Bros. Ron Jeremy's foreign parody of Mario Bros. Called, well, Super Hornio Bros.
What?
The story of this movie is a weird one because, of course, a Mario porn parody was going to have a normal story.
What?
Released in 1993, the length of the movie was considered too long. So it was split into 2 movies. Nintendo caught wind of the parody and bought the rights to stop distribution. That's literally the reason why this movie is on this list. Part 2 was floating around online for a while, but Part 1 was lost due to Nintendo stopping distribution before copies could get out. Something awful user, Atomic Thumbs, got a VHS copy of Part 1 and was making a documentary about Part 1, but he ended up getting the wrong VHS and never made that documentary. Another Something Awful user did find Part 1 and Hornio in its entirety, and it could be enjoyed? That said, a full VHS of the movie has not been found. In an interview, Ron Jeremy alluded to there being a Super Hornio sequel, but more than likely he forgot that Hornio was split into 2 movies. If there's a Hornio 3, I would hate to see it. Super Mario movie 91 script. Before we got the 93 movie, there was a script for the movie that was far more accurate to the original series. Once directors Rocky Moran and Annabelle Jankel became attached to the project.
Wait, I was focusing.
Before we got the 93 movie, there was a script for the movie that was far more accurate to the original series. Once directors Rocky Moran and Annabelle Jankel became attached to the project, they heavily changed the script, and now we have that quality part of early 90s media. Super Mario 93 deleted scenes. The 93 movie was not
deleted scenes,
with the script constantly being changed, directors Rocky Moran and Annabelle Jankel having a very different vision for the movie, issues with Disney, John Leguizamo and Bob Hoskins drinking during filming, and the movie going over budget, among many other things. The end result was the movie being a box office bomb and scaring Nintendo off from doing any adaptations of their properties, at least until the Mario movie in 2023. Since so much was filmed, a lot of scenes had to get cut from the movie to get it down to a reasonable runtime, as well as make sure the movie had a PG-13 rating. About 30 minutes of the film were cut. A rough cut of the film was put up on eBay, dated from December 1st, 1992, with some scenes found. On October 6, 2019, an Australian Blu-ray released with a rough cut as a bonus. There's still lots of scenes not found. Diddy Kong Racing 2. My least favorite kind of lost media to talk about is pitches. I don't think of them
Damn.
as lost media, just stuff that never got made. Plus, it's like Mad Libs because all you say is X pitched Y to Z. It
Man,
never
it sucks
got
this
made.
guy
The
canceled.
video is still online, and that's the case here. Climax Studios pitched Diddy Kong Racing 2 to Nintendo, and it never got made.
Damn.
Even though this title is being pitched by Climax, the Rare buyout had played a small hand in why this title never got the green light. At the very least, we got some plot details and a video, and eventually we got the DS port of the first game, so that was cool. Donkey Kong Racing. Now, this seems more like a true sequel to Diddy Kong Racing. You rode on animals and
Yeah.
beat the heck out of people in a race. Since this was being made by Rare, it got canned when Microsoft bought them out. Diddy Kong Pilot. One more DK racer for the road.
Diddy Kong
This was
Pilot.
planned for the GBA and actually looked really cool, and it would have had tilt controls. After the buyout, Rare lost the DK IP and retooled it into Banjo Pilot. So in a way, this game is found, just not as a DK game.
No. Yeah.
Pokemon Learning League. Are you a big Pokemon fan but can barely read?
Yeah, I do like Pokemon.
Covered with Pokemon Learning League, which was an educational web series. It started in fall 2006 and then became a paid service in 2007. The site stopped taking new subscribers in 2008, and the site went down in 2009. The Wayback Machine doesn't save Flash content, so it was inaccessible for the longest time. Thankfully, Lost Media Wiki user Amit Call downloaded all the site's files when it was live and put it up online so we all could be educated through Pokemon.
I think I'm ready to make some new friends. All right. Okay.
I've never heard of
I'm
this
a little
before.
nervous. Will you help me meet some new friends? There are a lot of people here training with their Pokemon.
Pokemon.com online games. The official
Lost.
Pokemon website had several Flash and Java-based games that you could enjoy. As time moved on, games from the website faded away, and no one has any backups or downloads of the games from the site. Pokemon 40, Pikachu's Ocean Adventure. The Pokemon Animation Studio made Nintendo look weak by having Pikachu in 4D years before the 3DS. This short had a limited run in IMAX theaters in 2006 and has made appearances again in 2017 and 2020. The only things that have been found of the short are some trailers and a short clip.
Yeah.
Pokemon Live. Pokemon the Musical, essentially. It toured around America from September 2000 to January 2001. A professional recording of the American show was to be released, but for one reason or another, it never released other than a few clips. That
Wow.
said, recordings of Pokemon Live from other countries such as
Countries.
Mexico and Dubai can be found. There's actually a Pokemon musical from Dubai that features Detective Conan of all things.
Oh.
Boy, Detective Conan and Pokemon in one musical. Gonna go get me ticket now.
Okay.
Pokemon 3, the movie first draft. The late
Oh,
Takashi
Lost.
Shudo had a script for the movie that would have been about a fossil being restored as a T-Rex, and Ash and friends having to deal with that. Shudo spent the better part of a year pitching this movie just to get shot down by a producer. Quote, a story where a bunch of minerals gain consciousness and comes to life won't be a hit. That producer should work for Universal, and his only job being to stop Universal from making really bad Jurassic World movies. Pokemon Mew o Sagase, a 3D
The
movie that was
Church
shown
of
at the
Mew.
temporary Poke Park in Nagoya. After the park closed, the movie went into obscurity other than screeners in 2017 and 2020. A teaser and a few screens are online. Retro Studios
Man.
Zelda titles. Retro Studios had a few ideas for Zelda titles planned. There was a turn-based strategy game called
I think one day that movie might be found, but it's gonna take like years to be found. If someone has the VSS for that.
called Heroes of Hyrule, and another game where you play as a Sheikah codenamed Project X. A retro artist posted some of the art online, and Did You Know Gaming made videos about all of their failed Zelda titles. Heroes of Hyrule was canceled as Iwata-san wanted Retro to finish up the Prime trilogy and show how the Wiimote could be used for first-person games. The Sheikah game was canned because the gameplay was nothing more than just whack-a-mole.
Whack.
Even though Retro never made their Zelda games, we did get 2 really good Donkey Kong Country games out of it, so that's awesome. Plus, Miyamoto-san has said that a Sheik spin-off isn't off the table, so maybe it will get made one of these days. I hope they get Team Ninja to make it so Sheik will have giant boobs like a Dead or Alive girl. Link Treasure Tracker Diorama. We all love Captain Toad, and
Yeah.
at one point it could have been a Zelda title. Shinya Hidatake and Koichi Hayashida showed a papier-mâché diorama to Miyamoto-san, and Miyamoto was confused at first. He thought they were making a toy for Zelda, but after more explanation,
Oh, that was-
Hayashida said that he wanted to make a Zelda game. Miyamoto denied the pitch. However, Miyamoto liked the idea and said it could be a minigame in Super Mario 3D World. Eventually, it became its own game. Hayashida
Yeah,
said that
Capital
he
Treasure
burned
Tracker.
the diorama because it was nothing but bad memories for him. That said, the diorama idea did come back to form with the 2019 Link's Awakening remake. Star Fox and Zelda Netflix show materials. This
Aw.
is like the 5th time to talk about this.
Yeah, they
Well,
canceled
it's
that.
worth talking about again.
Wait, I didn't
Around
know they
2016,
canceled.
Netflix was
What?
working on 2 shows with Nintendo.
Aw, they canceled those. Aw, that wouldn't be good. That wouldn't be good. They canceled a show, Star Fox and a Zelda show.
for Zelda and Star Fox. However, a broken NDA killed both projects before anything could be seen. I wonder if there's any
Oh,
pre-production material sitting in the Netflix archive. I think with the Mario movie being a big hit, I can definitely see Nintendo making shows based off their games. I'm telling you, Zelda, Xenoblade, and Kid Icarus animes would be really fire, and Fire Emblem, Metroid, and Splatoon movies would be really big. Kid Kirby, a mysterious game in the Kirby series. DMA Studios, now known as
Kid
Rockstar,
Kirby.
was working on this Kirby title that was meant to be for younger players. It would have used the Super Nintendo mouse to fling Kirby around. Sounds like a mix between Angry Birds and Kirby Canvas Curse. Development on Kid Kirby was slow,
So
and
what
by
is
the time
that?
it
I
was
think
nearly done, the
that
64 was
weird DVD
almost out.
there.
Plus, the Super Nintendo mouse wasn't exactly a high seller. Some art has surfaced, but the
Nope.
people who worked on Kid Kirby don't have any ROMs or anything else from the title. ARMS comic. In 2018, a
Arms
teaser
comic.
for ARMS was released by Dark Horse Comics, being
Oh, I
penned
know
by the one and
Lost.
only Ian Flynn. Years of silence rolled by, and Flynn admitted that the ARMS graphic novel was canceled. Also, if you play Min Min and Smash, you're carried. Geist DS. Did anyone play Geist on the GameCube?
No,
It wasn't
I never
exactly the
played
biggest
that.
hit. A DS title was planned, either being a sequel or port of the GameCube title, but that obviously never happened. It feels redundant to say it never happened in a Lost Media video, as it obviously never came out. That's why it's in this video. Some traces of the Geist DS ROM could be found in the DS version of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, which was being developed by Endspace. At least Geist got a Spirit and Ultimate as a consolation prize.
Hmm.
Battle Me. Do people consider
Battle
tech
Me.
demos lost media? They're just meant to show off a system's technical capabilities and not really meant for a full game. Sometimes they do evolve into full games, but not all the time. A tech demo that did not evolve into a full game was Battle Me, where you run around as Mii's and shoot each other. And well, that's about it. Fire Emblem Maiden of Darkness, one of the many
Lost.
casualties of the
That's
64
canceled.
DD's failure. This was going to be the first 3D Fire Emblem game and was canceled because of the DD's failure. Some ideas
Yep.
from this version of Fire Emblem would make it into Fire Emblem The Binding Blade, aka
I
the
burped.
game that had
Keep
Roy
burping
in
there.
it. The weird thing is, Roy was originally called Ike in the early part of development for Maiden of Darkness. Another fun fact, Roy debuted in Melee, as The Binding Blade was not out yet when Melee was released. Zero Racers. Sometimes known as G Racers.
Zero Racers.
It was a Virtual Boy game that was to be a spin-off to F-Zero. Not
Huh.
much was seen of this game other than a few promos and Nintendo Power. It got to the point where people thought this game wasn't real at all. Did you know gaming cleared the air? According to Nintendo employees, the game was translated, had a box and manual ready to go, and had an ESRB rating, but it never made it to market. The death of the Virtual Boy killed Zero Racers before it even got to the start.
Damn.
This title, Bound High and Dragon Hopper, might have been amazing games, but I don't think any single game could have saved the Virtual Boy.
Wow,
F-Zero
rip.
GP English dub.
I got stuff
F-Zero's
for.
anime was a bomb for Nintendo. They put a lot of money into the project just to get low ratings, and the companion game, F-Zero Climax, to only sell 5,000 copies in its first week in Japan and never releasing outside the country.
Wow.
4 kids dubbed the anime, and it was canned after 15 episodes in America. According to TV Tropes, the remaining
God
episodes
damn
did
it.
air in New Zealand, but I can't verify that. You want to know why F-Zero is dead? Blame anime.
Yeah,
Retro's
blame. Yeah,
GameCube
blame.
titles.
Yeah, that's
Compared to
explain
Metroid
why.
Prime, Retro had several GameCube titles planned. These titles were Retro Football, an
Why the
action
anime
game
for
called
that?
Metaforce, a car combat game called Car Combat, and a role-playing game called Raven Blade. It was actually Metaforce that impressed Miyamoto enough to let Retro make a Metroid game. Once the team got the green light to make Metroid Prime, all these GameCube titles were canned. Super Kid Icarus. A blurb from a 1996
Okay,
issue
Icarus.
of Game Fan claimed that Super Kid Icarus was in the works for the Super Nintendo. Prior to that, it was mentioned in the Italian magazine Game Fan in February 1994, and from the UK Superplay in June from the same year. It wasn't uncommon for magazines back in the day to make up rumors to pad out the length of the magazine, so it's doubtful that Super Kid Icarus was ever a real game. The NES original had a rough development cycle, and I think that's the reason why the series never took off beyond the original game, the Game Boy sequel, and Uprising. There is the
Yeah.
offshoot chance that Nintendo did have a 32-bit Kid Icarus game on the drawing board, but I doubt it. I'm a Kid Icarus fan. Let me have my hopium.
Yeah. Kid Icarus Uprising was a really good game there. Oh, we get to level 5. Ooh.
Nintendo Arcade. From 2006 to 07, Nintendo had a site where you could play Flash games based off their IPs.
Hmm.
Oh wow, free games on Nintendo sites. Sounds baller.
Yeah,
Well,
sounds.
going off the titles,
Yeah.
there were things like trivia, memory, and quiz games. It's better than nothing.
Wait,
The
hold
site
on.
is down and a good
Let's
chunk.
see that again. Okay, so the Lost we got. Okay, that's Children of Man is lost. Kirby Squeaky Squash Speedy Tea Time is lost, and Magical Star Science Trivia is also lost. So the only found are these here. Found.
It's better than nothing. The site is down and a good chunk of the games have been backed up, but not all of them.
Yep.
But who cares about the other games when we can play Odama crushing
Who
Conquer in
cares?
2023? The Game Eye. Nintendo was ahead of the game with the Game Boy camera,
Game
so
Eye.
it's only natural that they would try to follow it up with a camera for the Game Boy Advance. Footage of the Game Eye does exist, and it would have been used in GameCube issue. So I couldn't find a reason why it was canceled, but I assume it was just too expensive to make. Stage debut. At E3 2003, this title was shown off for the Cube. You could make your own characters and do wacky things. It was supposed to be compatible with the e-reader and Game Eye. With that said, the e-reader was a bit of a flop and the Game Eye never released. The stage debut never made its debut. Elements from the game did live on with the Mii channel for the Wii, and the general concept of characters goofing off manifested as Tomodachi Life. Nintendo Video. I vaguely remember this. These were promo videos released on an app for the 3DS to promote eShop games. You got stuff like trailers, sports clips.
Oh, I think I remember this. This looks familiar.
All kinds of weird stuff. While the eShop went down in 2023, Nintendo Video went down in 2015. Sadly, Nintendo Video is lost.
Yeah, it's lost media.
King Koopa's Cool Cartoons.
Oh yeah, I heard of this.
From Mortal Kombat
King Koopa, yeah, from the Mario
Bros. Super
yeah.
Show hosted by King Koopa.
It is basically all lost media.
And show some public domain cartoons. The show failed to take off, and no official releases have been released.
Nope.
Super Mario World Mario Attack, a redemption arcade game that had a very limited
Oh,
release.
Mario
From the
Attack.
footage, it looks like you just fly around and try to land on a spot to get the big money. At least one YouTuber has a machine, so we know it's safe and sound. Whether he's unable or unwilling to dump the ROM is another story. Mario Takes America. Not to be confused with Mario's Wacky Worlds, this was another game pitched to the CDI. Phillips was impressed with the game and gave the green lights. It was going to be an educational title. Supposedly, the video footage taxed the CDI's hardware, and Phillips canceled the title. A developer does have 2 VHS tapes worth of footage in an archive, but can't upload them without permission from the late producer Howard Greenspan's family. Mario quiz cards. Nintendo feels bad about destroying so many kids' brains with their video games, so why not get Mario to help kids out with their education? Apple's Edition and Newfield Publications got Nintendo's permission to make some educational flashcards featuring Mario characters. That's where this image of Luigi reading about Hitler came from. There isn't much documentation about the cards. On the upside,
wait, what?
Have some of the cards.
I heard oh my.
And back online. Mario Face.
Dude, that was real. I know.
For the DS at E3
Mario's
2004. You could grab Mario or Wario's face and play around with it, which could be done in Mario 64
Yeah,
DS.
you can do that
was
Mario
simplified
DS.
compared to the tech demo. Not much else to add here. Donkey Kong Super Nintendo and CDI. According to EGM Circa.
Also, hello there on
1992,
Lively Yoshi.
a
Hello.
Donkey Kong game
Welcome.
was in development that was going to be a remake of the arcade original. In June 93, it was said that this game was going to be made for the Super Nintendo CD or CDI. It's unknown if this game was related to the Super Donkey game that was found in the 2020 Giga Leak, or even if this game was real at all.
Yeah.
Super Donkey. During the 2020
Super Donkey.
Giga Leak, a mysterious game was
I never heard that. Okay. Also, BRB again. I'm back again. Pretty fast though.
found for the Super Nintendo, a platform.
Yeah,
game
but
that has an art
welcome
style
on
like
Lively
Yoshi's
Yoshi
Island
for
and stars
this
a character with
this
a
Lost
brain
Media
and
stuff
destiny,
here we are
as in it
watching.
doesn't have limbs. Sprite data from Mario and Link are in the game too. Data suggests that this game was being made around 91 or 92, and the game is referred to as Super Mario World internally. A theory is that this game was a test for Yoshi's Island or Mario World.
Huh.
Funny is that without the Giga Leak, none of us would have known about Super Donkey at all.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong no Ongaku
Never
Asobi,
heard though.
an early game plan for the Famicom
Never heard of
that
this
had the
before
cast of
either.
Donkey Kong Jr.
Lost.
teach kids how to play music. It was a bit too ambitious for an early Famicom game, and between licensing issues and the tech just not being there, it was canceled. The only things that prove it existed are some screenshots. Donkey Kong Coconut Crackers. I feel like
Coconut.
that title is a racial slur. A GBA
Yeah.
title that was being developed by Rare, but this game was among the casualties of Rare games when they got bought out by Microsoft. Thankfully, this game was retooled into Mr. Pants. We all remember Mr. Pants.
I never
DK
played that.
Plus, an early version of
DK
Mario
Plus.
vs. Donkey Kong called DK Plus. It was shown as a tech demo at E3 2002, then years later it would be re-revealed as Mario vs. Donkey Kong. The main differences are the name, and there was to be connectivity to the GameCube with the link cable. Now that I think about it, Nintendo tried really hard to push that thing, didn't they? I had one for Sonic Adventure 2 Battle and Advance so I could race my Chow on the go. Ubisoft's Wind Waker sequel. David Solani was enamored with Wind Waker and wanted to make a sequel for the Game Boy
Aw.
Advance.
Oh,
He
it's
made
canceled.
a pitch, but Ubisoft killed it before it could make it
Wow,
to Nintendo.
Ubisoft.
Related, direct sequels to Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and Four Swords were planned, but all got axed, with the closest thing being Crossbow Training being a sequel to Twilight Princess. Zelda 2 Remake. If there's one game Miyamoto harbors some sort of regret for, it's Zelda 2. It's a fun game, but definitely rough around the edges. A remake was planned for the Super Nintendo, but didn't get far into development. More information came out in 2011. Yoshiaki Koizumi said that a Zelda game was planned for the Super Nintendo after Link to the Past, and would have used the Super FX chip. Since it would have been a late release for the Super Nintendo, it was cancelled as the PlayStation and Saturn were already out, and a 3D game for the Super Nintendo would have made Nintendo look weak or behind the times. In the Giga Leak, a Super FX model of Link was found, and it looks like something out of the Money for Nothing music video.
Yeah,
Metroid
does.
64. Miyamoto wanted a Metroid game for the 64, but he wasn't in charge of the series.
Nah.
Yoshio Sakamoto thought about it, but wasn't comfortable with 3D game design, and
That
Nintendo
sucks.
R&D 1 not having any interest in 3D games. A third
Wow,
party was
really?
contracted to make a Metroid game, but they passed it up because they thought they could not top Super Metroid. It wasn't Rare or DMA design, so this third party remains a mystery.
Yeah, it's
John
it's
Woo's
a-
Metroid. In 2003,
John
two writers
Woo's.
got the rights for a Metroid movie. After the rights expired, the rights then went to John Woo in 2006. Then he lost the rights. Nintendo declined the movie due to the difficulties of the 93 Mario movie, as well as being uncomfortable with the movie being the one to answer questions about Samus's backstory. And given the time when this movie would have been made and how bad video game movies were back then,
Yeah.
it's probably better that a Metroid
They were,
movie did not get off the ground.
yeah, that's good because yeah, back then, back in like the 90s, making video games movies, and also from the early 2000s. Oh god, they were bad. They were so bad. My god.
Sakamoto did say if a film was made by Ryuji Kitaura, he'd be down with it. And now with the Mario movie being a smash success,
Yeah.
I think it's only a matter of time before we see a Metroid movie.
Yeah,
Pokemon Team
we
Rocket
do have
versus Team
Nintendo's
Plasma. When
animation
Pokemon
studio,
Best
I believe
Wishes
it's called.
premiered in Japan,
Oh, okay.
there was a special with Teams Rocket and Plasma duking it out. The special was to air around March 2011, but guess what event happened in Japan in March 2011?
Ah,
Tapes were sent
all
over
that.
to the States for dubbing, but with the episodes getting postponed in Japan, they never got dubbed. Over the years, scans of the script have been found, and some animation from the special has been reused in the show proper. Pokemon Pirate Ship Show in Sydney. Back and out, mate. Have you ever wanted to cruise out to sea on a pirate ship
Okay,
with a
I
bunch
do
of
remember
Pokemon
seeing this
fans?
here.
You could have done so in 2000 in Sydney. According to an IGN article, this was the first ever Pokemon World Championship. There was stuff like tournaments, dancing, concerts, and limited
Yeah.
goods. It's bizarre that the first Pokemon World Championship has little documentation saved. I'm curious about the limited goods for this event. Someone has to have something saved. Even if it's just a Jigglypuff plush with a faded tag and a cum stain on it. Pokemon Garden. Anyone play Gaia Online? This was essentially
No,
Pokemon's attempt to make an
never
online
played.
game like Gaia. You make a character, see previews of games, and learn trivia. It was only available in Japan, and the service was available from 2006 until April 2009. Poke Park
Nothing.
Sari Taikai. At the temporary Poke Park in Nagoya, Japan, aka Tokyo Evora Balenciaga,
Oh,
there was a special
a
game
park-
available for attendees.
I didn't know
It was
this.
a fishing game where you fish for water-type Pokemon on your DS.
Ah, okay,
This
this is
was a
what.
download play game.
This
for
one,
the
okay,
DS,
this
and the data for these
one
games
want
was
to be
lost
fun
after
because
12
fishing,
hours
just
or
fishing.
after shutting down the system. There's 3 versions of this game that were distributed in different parts of Asia. There's footage of the game online, so there may be a ROM in someone's collection if only they would share. Pokemon 2000 Adventure Game. For promotion for the Pokemon 2000 movie,
That's a
an
picture game.
online game was made by Cyberworld International. Nintendo gave Cyberworld their blessing to make a simple online game, but when Nintendo found out they were making a 3D game, Nintendo ordered the takedown. Only 4 weeks after the 2000 Adventure game dropped. Makes sense why spend money on a game like Snap or Stadium when you can just play a game for free on your PC. An interview with the developers shows some gameplay, and there are some files of the game online. Pokemon Battle of Quaking Island. A Pokemon episode that had an earthquake in it from Wish Cache. I don't know if I said that right. It was to air on November 4th, 2004, but the Chuetsu earthquake hit in October 2004. Since it would have been too close to the earthquake hitting Japan, they decided to
Wow.
pull the episode from airing.
No.
Only a preview exists. Pokemon, it's New Year's Eve. One more Pokemon recap
No.
to watch while you're home alone on New
Yeah,
Year's.
man,
It was to
stop.
air on December
Really?
31st,
They canceled this?
1997. The Pokemon anime was still on hiatus due to the Porygon incident, and this recap never made it to broadcast. There are rumors that the 1999 Pokemon New Year special used materials from the 97 special, but that isn't confirmed.
Hmm.
Fire Emblem Wii. After Radiant
Oh,
being released,
oh,
Intelligent
I
Systems
lost
experimented
down.
more on the Wii with the new
I lost
Fire
Fire
Emblem title.
Emblem. Fire
Instead of a
Emblem game for the
turn-based
Wii.
strategy game, this would have been a real-time strategy game. It was just an experiment, and it's unknown if this was going to evolve into a full title. Fire Emblem Wii was revealed in the 2015 art book, Making a Fire Emblem.
Hmm.
The Binding Blade special maps.
That explains why there was never a Fire Emblem game for the Wii. So yeah.
If you were lucky enough to be at events hosted by V-Jump in 2002,
Alright.
you could have gotten a
Never
special
heard of this
cartridge
too?
of the Binding Blade with one of 4 unique maps in them. And I do mean special carts, as they were made specifically for the events and in limited quantities. As a result, the Wii U port of this title did not have any of the special maps in it. One screen exists, and a few scans exist too. One Nico Nico Doga user does have a cartridge, but the battery died out. Not a good sign. None of the 4 maps have been found, so the only hope is if Nintendo ports the Binding Blade to Switch with the maps, like they did with Mario Advance and the e-reader levels. 64 Wars. Prior to Advance
Cancel.
Wars, Nintendo had several games in the Wars series dating all the way back to the Famicom. 64 Wars was going to be an entry for the 64. Maybe, I'm not too sure on that one. There was planned connectivity to GB Wars, which did release in Japan. No reason was given behind 64 Wars cancellation, and it joins the graveyard of dead 64 titles. Kirby Air Ride 64 and Kirby Bowl 64. This title was shown off early in the 64's life as Kirby Bowl 64, which was going to be a sequel to Kirby's Dream Course. It showed
I
up
never,
again at
I
E3
didn't play
as
Dream Course
Kirby's
that
Air
much.
Ride. So I guess Bowl totally changed the ride, unless there were
It
2
wasn't my
Kirby
type of
games being
game.
developed at once. Then after 1996, Air Ride 64 just vanished. It eventually got remade for the GameCube as Kirby's Air Ride, which was okay. Nintendo
It wasn't bad, Kirby Air Ride. I
about
thought it was
Nintendo,
I thought it
they
was
used to own a
fine.
majority share of the Seattle Mariners until 2016. There was an exclusive baseball game planned for the GameCube
I mean, good.
developed by Exile Interactive. It kept getting delayed, then fell off the radar, likely due to 2K Sports getting the exclusive third-party rights for the MLB license. Factor 5 Pilot Wings. Factor 5 made some really good Star Wars flying games, so it seemed natural for them to make a Pilot Wings game. However, between the GameCube not selling as well as the PS2 and Xbox, and issues with Lucasfilm,
Yeah, it
Factor
just
5
sucks
had
that
way more
GameCube didn't
options.
sell.
Factor 5 wanted
Yeah,
to
I
make a
wish
Pilot Wings game,
it
but
did, you know.
LucasArts got them to port the Rogue Squadron games
It
to the
couldn't be
Xbox.
PS2
They
and
took their Pilot Wings
Xbox.
concepts with
That
them.
makes me
Since
upset
Pilot
there.
Wings is a Nintendo IP, they removed the IP in favor of making a game based off the movie, The Right Stuff. That said, the Xbox ports of the Star Wars flying games never came to be, same with the Right Stuff video game. Later on, Factor 5 got in touch with Nintendo to make games for their IPs. Inspired by this video, they had an idea to make a glasses peripheral for the Wii, kind of like an early attempt at VR. Nintendo rejected their pitch for Pilot Wings on the Wii, presumably due to the flight minigame in Wii Sports Resort being Pilot Wings in all but name. Factor 5 tried to salvage the project as Wii Fly, but no one wanted to fund the project, and Wii Fly flew off into the horizon, and Factor 5 flew off into bankruptcy in 2009. Geez, I didn't think Lair sucked that badly. Banjo Grunty's Curse, the game that precedes Grunty's Revenge on the Game Boy Advance. Curiously, this was going to be published by THQ instead of Nintendo. This was going to be for the Game Boy Color, where Banjo would have saved his friends from curses from Grunty. Despite it preceding Revenge, it had different enemies and transformations not seen in that title. Development stopped on Curse in favor of the Game Boy Advance title, and I'm going to be real, I didn't know either Banjo game existed on the Advance until I made this video. Conker's other
I mean, to be honest, I didn't know that.
Guess what? Another rare game
Conker's
for the
other
GameCube that got
other bad
canceled when
day.
it got bought out by
Ah,
Microsoft. It would have had Conker dealing with the fallout of him being a terrible king, and there would have been a new bad guy called the Cthulhu Poo. It sounds like my diarrhea after binging
Mighty
soju and
Pooh.
Korean barbecue. Microsoft wasn't interested in a Conker sequel, so Rare remade the first title for the Xbox. Since then, another planned sequel was canceled. You want to know why they are called Rare? Because it's rare and they make a damn game.
Yeah,
Sakurai,
they're
Star
rare.
Fox. In space,
Yep.
no one can hear you yif. Masahiro Sakurai wanted to make a flying and shooting game with Nintendo, and thought about using Star Fox for his game. However, he thought the Star Fox IP was too limited, and opted to use Kid Icarus for his game. And then we got the masterpiece, Kid Icarus.
Hi, Joshua
Good thing he
Lewis.
chose Kid
Welcome.
Icarus. It has the
How are
better
you?
waifus, and in general,
Welcome to
it's just
this
a better game.
stream
Star Fox Arcade,
reacting to
Wii,
Lost
Virtual Boy,
Media
and
here.
Muso. I am putting all of these in one category because they are all the same things. Lost media that is nothing more than a blurb on Wikipedia. Star Fox Virtual Boy was nothing more than a tech demo for the thing, and it got canned because it was being made for the Virtual Boy. Star Fox Arcade was to be an arcade version of Assault. That would have been cool, as the multiplayer element was the best part of Assault.
Yeah.
The arcade would have launched in the mid-2000s when arcades lost a lot of popularity outside Japan and Asia. It got scrapped for that reason.
Damn.
Star Fox Wii was a test game that ended up evolving into Star Fox Zero, and nothing has been seen of the Wii build. Finally, Muso would have been a spin-off by Omega Force that would have been like Hyrule or Fire Emblem Warriors, with a dash of Gundam Warriors. I have a screenshot of the Muso blurb saved on my hard drive, but when I looked at the Wikipedia article for this video, the Muso bit was deleted. Upon further research, Star Fox Muso was nothing but a rumor. Also, excluding Star Fox 2, there are nearly as many canceled Star Fox games as there are release titles. What series is like that, where there's as many canceled games as there are release titles?
Sick.
And there goes all the comments telling me about series that have had as many, if not more,
where
canceled
the
games
days
than
go?
released games.
Yeah,
I know how
there
the
were.
comment section works. And for the record, I like Star Fox as a series, though Zero and Command were both really whack. It's just that series that had so much potential, but Nintendo did not know how to utilize it. And also, I know that Kid Icarus has had at least 3 canceled games in a series that only has 3 games, but I'm biased here. I like the series a lot. Make a new Kid Icarus, Nintendo.
Yeah. How about
Nintendo Harry Potter pitch?
Yeah, how about Nintendo? How about you make a remake of Kid Icarus Uprising? Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon is getting a remake. Why not? Why not Kid Icarus Uprising? Like, yeah, come on. A lot of people love that game.
When certified turf J.K. Rowling
Harry
was pitching
Potter.
the Harry Potter IP around, Nintendo wanted the IP to make games. Nintendo was attempting a pitch, but couldn't decide on a direction for a Nintendo Harry Potter game. Ultimately, Warner Bros. Got the IP, with Electronic Arts making the games for some time. Harry Potter is huge in Japan, so I wonder what direction the series would have went in if Nintendo got the Harry Potter IP. A few pieces of Nintendo Harry Potter have been uploaded online.
Ah, okay. Level 6.
Nintendo 64 Satellaview. At some point, the Satellaview was planned for the 64, and it would have had internet support, downloadable games, a cable TV.
You already talked about the
ahead of its time, and it took Nintendo until the Wii to realize some of these ideas. Only a mock-up of the 64 Satellaview exists. Canceled 64 colors. We peaked as a society when
colors.
electronics were in vogue. The 64 had a ton of colors to enjoy. Sadly, not all colors made it to market for whatever reason. From what I've found, those colors are Atomic Purple, Extreme Green, Grass Green, Glacier White, Ocean Blue, Deep Red, and Milky Blue. I had the Ice Blue Nintendo 64 at one point, and that thing was baller, but I had to sell it. Don't be broke, kids. Archie, Mario, and Metroid comic. In 2009, Archie made several pitches to Nintendo to make comics based off of Mario and Metroid, and neither got made. Archie instead got the license to make Mega Man comics, and they were no longer interested in pursuing any comics for Nintendo. Given the difficulty Archie was having with Sega for the Sonic comics, Not to mention the nasty Ken Penders lawsuit. It's probably for the better that Archie never got to make any Nintendo comics. Mario Motors. Youth Saito
Mario
started metal
Motors.
sculpting as a hobby and had an idea for a game where you would have sculpted metal to make carts for Mario and friends. He pitched the idea to Nintendo, but it was passed over, allegedly due to the worry that kids would run out of breath while blowing into the microphone. Saito has
my
shared some
God.
of the concept art online. Boss Game Studios Mario. Another one of those X pitched Y to Z kind of lost
What
media.
is that, man?
Boss Game Studios pitched a Super Mario Bros. Game to Nintendo of America in the late 90s, and to the surprise of no one, it never got made. So, what's so special about this pitch? A piece of concept art exists, and it's a weird one. Mario walks across a board just to have the board sprout legs and eyes and chase Mario. That's terrifying! Boo Haunt. Another canceled game
Boo
from,
Haunt.
get this, Retro Studios. This was a game set for the DS where you play as a Boo who graduated from Boo School.
Ah,
Artist Sam
that would be
Hall
a
uploaded the images
good
to his
game
ArtStation
to play as a
account,
Boo.
and
To play as a
thankfully
Boo.
it's been backed up. According to a former retro artist, Boo Haunt was just made in a brainstorming session and didn't make it past Retro's heads. This
Ah.
poor Boo died for your sins.
Oh my God. Okay.
Ambassadors of Funk Mario
Okay.
Land music video.
I wonder that wasn't.
Nintendo collaborated with hip
the
hop
heck?
group Ambassadors of Funk for an album based
And
off
it
of
is
Mario
sound,
games called Super Mario Compact Disco. There was a video to go along with the song Super Mario Land, but a claim by Living Beat Records took it down. Thankfully, the video was backed up on Dailymotion.
Okay, that's good.
Mallow plush. When Super Mario
Oh, Mallow
RPG
plush.
launched in Japan,
How about
Takara did
hello,
a plush
rare?
set for the title. In one of the sets, Mallow got a plush. For a while, it was thought that Mallow never released, but it's confirmed that Mallow did release, and he's easily one of the rarest Mario plushes out there.
Yeah,
Gino
the rare
plush.
one.
Going with the above, for a while people thought that Gino got a plush, given that he's more popular than Mallow.
Yeah, he
At
is.
least with Smash players who never played Mario RPG. Nothing in Takara's archives have indicated that a Gino plush was ever made. That said, with the remake of Super Mario RPG releasing for the Switch, I can see Gino and hopefully Fat Yoshi getting some merchandise.
Fat
I
Yoshi.
hope Gino fans have fun playing Mario RPG for
Being
the first
Yoshi.
time. Seriously, why would you want Gino as a playable character in Smash Bros. When there are so many better characters for Smash?
Gino has
like these
a
ones?
costume and all that.
Canceled Nintendo merch. It isn't uncommon for any franchise to have merchandise that was teased but never made it to retail. In Nintendo's case, many of them from Jack specific, be it financial, practical, change in plans, or Nintendo just saying no. If you keep your ears to the ground, you might be able to find a prototype or test merch. Pokemon Boshi Matsuri. Another Pokemon animation made for Japanese planetariums, more specifically the Konika Minolta planetariums. This 22-minute short aired from 2008 to 2009, and much like other planetarium animations, it has not seen a home release.
Wow.
Pokemon Tower Battle and Maze Land. More online Pokemon games from Japan. The former is a trivia game that's modeled after Tokyo Tower. It was released outside of Japan according to Bulbapedia, but the site is down. Maze Land was only released in Japan, and it was a maze game like Pac-Man, but with Pokemon, so I don't like it as much as Pac-Man.
Wow.
Pokemon Dream World.
Dream World.
Game connects to the Pokemon Black and White games.
Flash game.
According to Digino Gaming, it's like Animal Crossing where you can raise Pokemon and grow plants. Exciting. It was available in English. Dream World went offline in 2014, same with the Black and White online features. Pokemon PC Master. Another educational game starring Pokemon, this one being for kids in Japan. It was online from 2006 to 2007. Since this was a Japan-only release, not many people outside the country knew that this existed, and little info is online. A trial version of PC Master has been found. Given how tech-illiterate Japan can be at times, Game Freak failed at teaching kids how to use a computer through Pokemon. Poké-ROM. You gotta learn them all.
I'm
Ugh.
gotta learn
An earlier
more.
attempt at teaching kids through Pokemon. These were
I just
made
wanna-
by the Learning
These
Company.
type of
They shut it
games.
around the time that the learning discs were being distributed, so that means not a whole lot of them are out there. Thankfully, other than a few regional variants, the Poké-ROM series has been backed up online, and Real Talk Fam decided to make this video. I dreaded about all the lost Pokemon stuff, and after researching the series, I am very glad I am not a Pokemon fan. Pikmin Space Force. To promote the first
Pikmin
game,
Space
Nintendo
Force.
made a flash game on their website where you help the space explorer escape the planet. There actually aren't too many first-hand accounts of this game, as this was only available from November 2001 to early to mid 2002. I was on the internet around that time, but I was more interested in LEGO stuff and learning how to raise a Chow in 2001. Since Space Force was a flash game, it has been archived. Pikmin Anime.
Wow.
A case of reverse lost
Pikmin
media.
anime.
In 2010, a Pikmin animation was uploaded to YouTube by the main details that were given were that the song used in the video was called Smile Forever by Tam Music Factory. Now thinks the video is called Pikmin Cheer Up, and the animation was done outside of Japan.
Aw.
The leading theory is that it's a sequel to a fan animation from 2006 on a YouTube channel called Bei Piao.
Oh.
There's actually a video that taught me how to pronounce that. Weird. The description of the 2006 animation says that it was done for college. Bei Piao didn't say if he did the sequel animation from 2010, so who made this is unknown. My theory is that it was just a proof of concept of a Pikmin anime, and I don't think it was officially made by Nintendo. So I didn't need to put it in this video, but
Why would it be good
all's
to make
well.
a Pikmin
Kirby
anime?
family. I like suing. It's a good hobby to have.
My
Plus, it
family.
saves on buying
Oh,
new
no, Kirby
clothes,
family. My bad.
especially when you live in a country where finding your
Very
size is
ribbon
very
there.
difficult. There was a sewing add-on for the Game Boy Color in Japan where you made designs and it would sew the pattern. A Kirby game was being made for the Game Boy sewing machine that would have been similar to the released Mario Family, where you make designs of Mario characters and sew them onto clothes. Since Mario Family sold poorly, Kirby Family
Yeah.
was canceled. Clearly, kids doped up on Pokemon and Zelda games really wanted a sewing machine to go along with it. Who was the Game Boy sewing machine made for? Animal Crossing Town Builder. Before Pocket Camp, there was a different idea for a mobile Animal Crossing game. It was going to be a town building game, but this version wasn't well received within Nintendo. After delays, Nintendo retooled the game into Pocket Camp. No builds of the town building game have been found, but game archivist Liam Robertson made a video about this build with several sources backing up his claims about Town Builder. So it does exist, but we're probably never going to see it. Metroid
Wow.
Tactics. Another pitch from Retro for a Metroid turn-based strategy
Lost
spin-off.
canceled.
There's a whole design doc and some mock-ups are online. Basically, it was going to be XCOM Cross Metroid. It sounds
Wait, Holo? Oh, okay. We are okay. Yeah, okay.
cool, but the pitch was only made by one guy at Retro, and it was swiftly rejected by Retro management before it could get up to Nintendo proper. Seaman 3DS. In 2012,
God.
Iwata-san asked
What?
Yu Saito to make the Dreamcast
Yeah, I feel
game
like I read
Seaman
that
for the
before.
3DS. Not much came from this, and why would you want to play Seaman without Leonard
That is
Nimoy?
creepy.
And
That's
seriously,
creepy.
Nintendo, of all the great Dreamcast games you could have had on the 3DS like Sonic Adventure, Skies of Arcadia, Jet Set Radio, or Crazy Taxi, you chose Seaman.
Yeah, I really.
You
What?
visit
Really, Nintendo. I really.
One didn't know better. One might assume you're quite
Wait, hold on.
obsessed.
Let me go that again.
The Jet Set Radio, great Dreamcast game from this, and why would you want to play Seaman without Leonard Nimoy? And seriously, Nintendo, of all
Yeah.
the great Dreamcast games you could have had on the 3DS,
Yeah, yeah, so
like
why?
Sonic Adventure,
Why you pick
Skies of
Seaman?
Arcadia, Jet Set Radio, or Crazy Taxi, you chose Seaman.
You visit often. If one didn't know better, one might assume you're quite obsessed. Or you have nothing better to do.
Cabbage.
Oh,
What
my
happens
God.
when you get Shigesato Itoi,
Oh no, the game with the
Kazu
64
Ishihara,
DDs.
and
Yep.
Shigi Miyamoto himself on a project, you get a canceled game. Cabbage was slated for the ill-fated 64 DD, and it would have been a pet breeding/raising game. It needed the DD's internal clock to keep track of time in the game, and there was going to be a companion Game Boy game so you could play on the go, kind of like what Sega would do with the Chows in Sonic Adventure. Between the 64 DD's failure and Itoi and Ishihara being busy with other projects, Cabbage was canned. Some ideas did make it into Nintendogs and Animal Crossing. At the time of making this video, no images have surfaced for Cabbage. Maybe that's why Nintendo wanted Seaman on the 3DS, redemption for Cabbage's fate. Then again, Seaman 3DS never got made, so Retro Studios Kid Icarus. A developer at Retro Studios proposed a Kid Icarus title to Nintendo, and it was quickly rejected. Nintendo wants gameplay ideas over pure IP recognition. That's how Sakurai
Hold on a second. Hold on.
managed to make Kid Icarus Uprising. He wanted to make a flying and shooting game, and he was able to use the Kid Icarus IP as vision to completion. Game Zero. An exclusive for the GameCube, this was going to be made by former Rare employee Martin Hollis with the game company Tsunami and Nintendo support. Very little was shown of Game Zero, and not many people knew that it was in development. Years later, it was
Didn't
revealed
know
that Game
this.
Zero was going to be a sandbox platformer with destructible environments. It's like an unbuilt version of Minecraft. The game was in development for 3 years, but it fell apart as their vision was far too ambitious for the GameCube. While Toonami never made Game Zero, they kept making other games, but none of them were notable, and they closed their doors in 2010.
Rep.
Crashmo Wii U. The cute Crashmo and Pushmo games had a Wii U game called Crashmo Worlds in the works by
Never
Intelligent
played that.
Systems. It was supposed to be their final Wii U game. Nintendo was okay with this title being made, but the games Intelligent Systems had in the works for the Switch needed all hands on deck. Talks of bringing Crashmo World to the Switch didn't get far, but there's still a chance it could see the light of day. Also, the Crashmo games were download only, so I guess they are lost media now. The joys of digital
Yeah, I
only
guess.
titles. Earthbound GameCube.
Yeah.
Bon Kaito's director Yasuyuki Hone had a pitch for an Earthbound sequel on the GameCube. Iwata arranged a meeting with Hone and Itoi to pitch the game to Itoi, to which he replied, "You planned this, didn't you?" Itoi was not into the pitch, but he did like the felt art style Hone had for Earthbound. Itoi did not say why, but I think Mother 3's long and troubled production was the reason why Itoi was not into Earthbound on the GameCube. At least we got the Bon Kaitos games, and those titles are awesome. Nintendo Nairo videos. Throughout Smash 4 and early
Nintendo
Racing
Nairo
4,
videos.
Nintendo uploaded several videos featuring former top Smash player Nairo. For a
Oh,
variety of reasons that I
yeah,
won't
yeah.
get
The probably
into
has
here because
on the
A, it's
footage
sensitive
there.
information, B, it's a lot of sensitive information, and C, I just don't care. Nairo was banned from competitive Smash and Twitch in 2020. While he is allowed to enter some tournaments again, Nairo is still banned from Twitch for unknown reasons. When the allegations
Hmm.
dropped, whatever videos had Nairo in them were privatized. Same if it had other
Uh,
videos with other Smashers that were outed at that time. At least one video featuring Nairo has been mirrored to YouTube. Kimba the White Lion 64. There were two attempts
eh?
at a Kimba the White Lion video game, one for the Famicom and one for the 64. The
I mean, I
Famicom
do
game
know
was
about
going to be made by
Kimba.
Taito but was cancelled for unknown reasons, with no ROM surfacing. Shame, as late Taito games for the NES were actually really good. The 64 game is a bit more interesting. Miyamoto was involved with it, and Tezuka Productions were involved too. Makoto Tezuka, son of the late great Osamu Tezuka, was set to direct the title. Kimba was shown off at Shoshinkan 96 for a 1999 release, and it made one more appearance at Space World 1998. Production hit a snag as Makoto was not experienced with video game development, because obviously getting a mangaka to direct a AAA video game was a smart move. That, plus the expensive license for Kimba, meant the game got cancelled. Shame, as the game looked like it had a lot of potential. Plus,
Yeah,
not too many
yeah, it
licensed
does
games
look
can say they had
like
Shigeru
it.
Miyamoto involved in making them.
That'll be a fun game. Oh, level 7. I think it's the last one, I think.
Nintendo Quality of Life Program. Nintendo has a trademark for something
Oh,
called the Quality
no,
of
we got
Life
one
as
more.
far back as
The same me last.
2014,
Okay.
which, based on sketches for the thing, was some kind of program to help people with their daily lives. Nintendo has their
That's
mum on
it.
the topic, and I can imagine with the Switch being a huge success for them, they would rather focus on that than some health program that's going to be used by people whose diet consists of Mountain Dew and Doritos, or in my case, Strong
What?
Zero and Family Mart chicken. Wii Vitality Sensor. During E3 2009, Nintendo showed a mysterious add-on for the Wiimote called the
What
Vitality
is that?
Sensor,
Oh,
which would have read your pulse.
that look like it's
According
gonna
to
hurt your
Iwata,
finger there.
would have helped players relax. Gonna go out on a limb and assume the sensor would not have made for a good fleshlight.
Nope.
People thought it was just a mock-up as it fell from memory as quickly as it was announced. Iwata did bring it up in 2013 to confirm that it was a thing, but was formally cancelled as it only worked on 90% of testers. Famicom Cycle. Nintendo always had gamers' health on their minds as far back as 1988. At the Kansai Cycle Sports Center in Osaka, there was an interactive unit where you rode a bicycle and played games that way. F1 Race was one such title that could be played with a cycle. The display was up until 2009, and no one knows what happened to the Famicom cycles. It's safe to assume that they're somewhere in storage.
Rep.
Mario's Mission Earth. Mario had a series of
Sure.
educational games on the Super Nintendo, and
Yeah,
they were
Mario teaches typing.
bad.
Yeah.
Mission Earth would have followed the trend of Mario's Missing and Mario's Time Machine. The only reason why we know this title existed is because it was on the resume of the composer of the two aforementioned titles, Mark Knight.
Boy, finally, I'm again
Let's
to
go
move
on
on
the
the
ground.
ground.
Wee.
So,
Wee.
on the ground.
Oh, I'm on the ground.
Hey, where'd everybody go?
Hey, where am I gonna go?
There you are.
There you are.
Mario Net Quest. Early internet media
Ad
is so
Quest.
fascinating to me.
Oh,
It
it's
was
found.
basically the Wild West in the early days. So why not have an official Mario Flash game made by IBM? It was whack-a-mole, basically. It was found in
Whack-a-mole.
2023.
Yep.
Fleetway Mario comic. Nintendo approached comic
Man,
publisher
man,
Fleetway
man,
about
these
having
comics are getting
comics based
canceled,
off their
man.
IPs. Richard Elson and Nigel
I mean,
Kitchen
I'm not into
approached
comic,
Nintendo
but
and nothing
it
came
sucks.
of it.
It sucks.
According
Sucks
to
like getting
brand name
canceled.
source, Nintendo was far more hands-on than
Oh, what
Sega
is
when
that?
it came to comics,
That's what
and it would
DK
have been a
Jr.
nightmare
there.
for things to get approved. This does have a happy ending, as Fleetway made a Donkey Kong comic for Nintendo. Return of Donkey Kong. This sounds more like a threat than a game, and it might not have
Return
been
of
a
Donkey
game,
Kong.
as the only reference to this title is from the official Nintendo Player's Guide from 1987. Timber 64. We all love Timber from Diddy Kong Racing, and he might have had his own game at one point.
Oh,
There are
really?
conflicting reports, however. Some say that there was a game in development by a small team within Rare, but others at Rare say that a Timber game was never in development at all. An early version of Diddy Kong Racing, originally Pro Am 64, was going to have Timber as the lead character, but that didn't happen, obviously.
Rip.
There was also a tech demo built within Rare where Timber played on all fours, but that might have been an early test for Dinosaur Planet. Banjo TV show. When Banjo Nuts and Bolts was made, there was a tie-in show
Yeah, that's
planned.
spoiler.
The show died because of creative differences, as
Aw.
no one could decide if the show should be 2D or 3D and just kind of fell apart.
Oh, that
Funnily enough,
sucks.
another Rare game did get a show, Viva Pinata, that aired on Fox Box.
Oh yeah, Viva
I used to watch
Pinata.
Fox Box during middle school.
I
and
never
don't remember a
watched
single
Viva
thing about
Pinata.
Viva Pinata. Metroid Prime 4
I heard of
original
it, but I've
build.
never seen it.
A modern case of vaporware. Prime 4 was announced in 2017 for the Switch, and news went silent. In 2019, Takahashi said that the game was not meeting Nintendo's standard of quality, and development would restart underneath Retro Studios. The original developers have not been officially confirmed, but all signs point towards Namco Bandai Singapore being the original developers of Prime 4. So I wonder, what was so bad about the original build of Prime 4, and will we see anything of it? At time of making this video, Prime 4 news has been nothing but rumors, but Nintendo assures us that it's still in the oven. I personally think Nintendo is saving Prime 4 for the next Nintendo console. Marionettes, another fabled canceled GameCube game. Despite having Mario in the title, he would not have been in this
Marionettes?
game, as
Oh.
it involved controlling a puppet. Not much is known about this game other than Miyamoto talking about it. Astral Chain kinda sorta resembles this idea if we are reaching here. Nintendo Power Cassette, a tape given away through Nintendo Power. It had tips and cheats for various Nintendo games and had a
Man, my
funky
PC is
beat
gonna
in it.
die.
It
It's
had
all
the
20%.
NES Punk, aka my long lost brother, had a tape but lost it. So this was nearly forever lost. But he
Oh.
got a replacement and uploaded the audio for all to hear. The funny part is, the tips in the tape are either commonly known or just flat out wrong. As an aside, I wonder what kind of rare or obscure merch hardcore collectors are keeping secret that we don't know about. Be nice, collectors, and share stuff. You never know when stuff is going to break and really be lost and your value is gone with the wind. Wave Race V. A patent appeared in 2011 for a motorcycle game by Nintendo. NST, the same company behind the Mario vs. Donkey Kong games
Wave Race.
and the canceled Project Hammer, had an idea for a wave race game that would have used the Wii Emote to drive the boat. Nintendo denied the pitch, probably because Wii Sports Resort had a boat racing game that covered the same ground.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Sky Skipper, an early arcade game, it was supposed to release in 1981, but between poor testing and legal issues between Nintendo and programmer Tsushinki Ikegami caused this title to be canned. Issues with Ikegami was also why it took forever for the original arcade version of Donkey Kong to see an official release. That said, Park Bros did release Sky Skipper for the Atari 2600.
Oh
I
no,
made my Nintendo
PC.
ICEBERG video in 2021. I didn't know that this game was available on the Switch via Hamster's
I didn't know
Arcade
this either.
Archives line. I've played it, and yeah, it's nothing special, but it is cool that something that was once thought
Yeah.
to be lost to be widely available. Camelot's GameCube RPG. According
Camelot.
to job postings, Camelot wanted to make an RPG for the GameCube. Some rumors around that time thought that this was going to be Golden Sun for the GameCube, but no dice. Nothing has been heard about this mysterious Camelot GameCube title, and Golden Sun would die on the DS. Sorry, Isaac fans, this drink is for you.
Rip.
Game Boy Brazil vinyl. To promote the
Aw.
1984 launch of the Game Boy in Brazil,
I didn't know
an
this.
album was released by
didn't know
Big
that.
Tronic with songs by rock band Professor Antenna.
Oh my
Only
god,
one
here.
picture of the LP is online, and the person who owns it doesn't want to make the disc available online. Probably a case of, it would ruin the value. Look, if you have something rare that can be backed up online, then back it up online. The physical product will still sell for good money, and in case the physical item gets damaged, you can at least enjoy the game or music or whatever. Also, I translated this site from Portuguese to English, and I hope I got this right. Pokemon Mate, a
Alright, yeah,
mobile game made
that's
by
fine,
Square
man. That's fine.
Enix
If
of all
you if
people
we
in
don't speak our language.
2006. This title was a pet simulator and messaging service. To get the most out of this app, you had to pay 210 yen a month, and it didn't make much of a splash in Japan. Plans to export the app died off, and the service went offline in 2008. What did you think you would get with a name like Pokemon Mate? And thank you, sweet baby Jesus. This is the last Pokemon entry in this iceberg.
Wow, the last one.
Famicom Detective Club Lost Memories in the Snow.
Famicom.
Famicom Detective Club games got remixed for the Satellaview, with the third original game called Lost Memories in the Snow. Since it was tied to the Satellaview, when the broadcast ended, that meant Lost Memories just became that. Memories. What a fitting title. It's weird that with the remix of the first two games for the Switch, they just skipped over the third game. Ever Race. Nintendo's first proper video game was a horse racing game where you bet on a horse race. It used 16mm film to display the race in a cabinet. Nintendo must not have made many of these, as they don't even own the game. A cabinet went up for sale on Yahoo Auctions
Ow.
without the reels, and a few of the reels are out there, but no complete game exists. Shitamachi
I think I have enough time.
This was a virtual magazine published
Oh,
by
never heard of
Koei
it, and it's
Frankie
found.
on the Satellaview. Due to the nature of the Satellaview, not many people knew about this
Okay,
magazine.
how many? How
Thankfully,
long?
there were some recordings, and a ROM was uploaded online.
8
Now we
minutes.
can
Okay.
enjoy things such as
I think I
Toad
have.
trying to smash Princess Peach, Mario going Chris Brown against Peach, and Mario pulling a drill out of his scrotum to break out of jail just to
What?
appear in Brazil. God damn it, I love this job sometimes.
Got me that. Yeah, I gotta remember that. Okay, last
Game
one.
Boy Petacidate. AVGN made a
We
video
heard that
about Game
again.
Boy except out of jail was uploaded online. Now we knew about Marist
Wait, no, I remember that.
Princess Peach uploaded online. Now we can enjoy things such as Toad trying to smash Princess Peach,
Oh my,
Mario going Chris Brown against Peach, and Mario pulling a drill out of his scrotum to.
oh my god, man. Yeah, I remember that, man. I was like, what the hell, man? Why was that real,
Game
man?
Boy
That
Petacidate.
magazine. Oh my god.
AVGN made a video about Game Boy
Never heard of
accessories
that?
and discovered that an actual device was being made to sedate kids with sleeping gas while they are playing Game Boy games. After a bit of research, yeah, this was definitely real. It never got made, but it was patented. I like the colors, nice touch.
Yeah,
I
that's
want to
cool.
get high off of sleeping gas while playing Final Fantasy Legend. It sounds like the way to communicate with the Final Fantasy gods. Tingle horror game. Tingle was popular enough in Japan and Europe to get a few games based
An
off
horror
of them.
game.
Americans hate the bastards, so those games never got localized.
Yeah, that
A
is
horror
kind
game
of.
featuring Tingle was in the pipeline at one point, but never got too far in development. It's said that some ideas from this game were used in Dylan's Rolling Western. Miyamoto's Minecraft-like game. In an interview talking about Minecraft, Miyamoto said that back in the 64 era, there was a game being built around that time that was similar to what Minecraft would end up being.
Oh,
Due to
really?
the 64's limited power, this game never came to be.
Hmm.
Nothing of this type
Yeah.
has been seen, nor is it known if anything from this Minecraft-like game ended up in other titles. Kanye West game. Reggie Fils-Aimé told the story about how at E3, Kanye West, Yeezus himself, pitched the game to Nintendo. It would have involved guiding his mother up to heaven. Reggie, quote, politely declined his proposal. Kanye explored the death of his mother in his 2021 album, Donda, and tried to get the game made as only one. Though at this point in Kanye's career, I don't think anyone is that stupid to get involved with him. ARMS 2. Okay, this is just a theory I made, but it makes sense to me. ARMS
ARMS
was an
2?
early success in the Switch's life. Nintendo heavily promoted the game, with free updates, events, and Min being added to Smash Ultimate.
Yeah.
Nintendo
Cool.
chose the characters for both fighters' passes.
Yep.
And almost
Too
every
bad
character
I didn't
involved
have.
passes
I didn't
had
have
some
many
kind
when
of
she was
feature
in
after the
Ultimate.
Switch,
Didn't hate
as
that.
if even just a port to Switch Online. Between the ARMS comic and Min's appearance to Smash, it's clear Nintendo had plans to franchise ARMS out, but for whatever reason, an ARMS sequel has never manifested as
Yeah,
of
it got
summer
canceled.
2023. The cancellation of the comic only reinforces
That
my
sucks.
theory. I did a
For
whole
ARMS,
video about why
for
ARMS
you
died
ARMS
off, so you can
fan.
go check that out for more of an in-depth
I know
analysis
secret.
on the
Yeah.
subject. Really, this is just me being salty about Min being added in Smash
Yeah,
over other,
yeah.
cooler, less toxic characters.
Yeah.
Adam and
Springman,
Eve.
but
Not to
Springman.
be
I mean,
confused with the NES game found on the
Springman is on Ultimate, but he is a freaking Ascent trophy. That's this
Ultron
trophy.
6 and 1. This was a tech demo that helped form the basis of Pikmin. It's exactly as it sounds like, a game where you watch two humans evolve. According to Miyamoto, the game didn't have much in the way of interactivity, and Pikmin were added to the game, and the rest is history. Bulborbs were a holdover from Adam and Eve. If there's any art for this title, I certainly haven't found it. Fascination. Have you ever wanted to play Wild Gunman, but really needed to crank your hog? Nintendo had this feeling. Fascination was a light gun shooting game based off the hardware from the original Wild Gunman arcade game from 1974. Instead of shooting dudes in the Wild West, you shot at a Swedish model who took off her clothes until she's nude.
Oh
For
my,
obvious
what?
reasons, this game didn't get made, and Nintendo
Oh,
has not said anything about it.
yeah.
Fumito Yokoi did talk about it and said that the real reason why this game was canned was that the hardware was too fragile and complicated.
Yeah.
Nintendo Love Hotels. In the
Love
60s, during
hotels.
Hiroshi Yamauchi's run as president of Nintendo, he ventured into non
Oh,
card game
oh,
industries such as
oh, okay.
dice and
So yeah,
taxes.
just like
They did not last. Much like Vince McMahon, whenever he ventures into a non wrestling business. One thing that Nintendo was rumored to have was love hotels, aka places where you take a lover or one night stand in. You can do it all night long! This rumor was treated as
girls.
spectacle at its time,
Okay.
but it's just
But
that,
yeah,
a
you put
rumor.
that one there.
Nothing in Nintendo's archives or financial reports say that they ever had love hotels. This rumor comes from two things: David Sheff's book Game Over, which made the love hotel claim with no reliable sources, and Yamauchi frequenting love hotels back then. There is a chance that Yamauchi invested into love hotels under a non-Nintendo name, but I doubt it. So there's nothing conclusive saying that Nintendo had love hotels back in the 60s or 70s. Even if they did, when the Ultra Hand blew up in popularity, they certainly abandoned that industry, and they definitely would want to bury any love hotel association these days. That said, they should make Nintendo love hotels a reality, even though you could probably
Yeah,
recreate one in your game room.
they
Have
should.
you
They
and your
should.
partner do it underneath the Mario bed sheets, while one person wears a Pokeball gag and the other a Diglett condom. I did stay at a love hotel once in Tokyo, and the room had one of those old school Famicom demo units.
Oh, cool.
Sadly to say, that was more interesting than the woman I was with. Unknown canceled games. As with any company,
Oh,
Nintendo
oh,
has that
no,
many
cancel
games in the
game,
works
lost
that get
games.
canned and no one knows about them. So who's to say that a new Kid Icarus or Golden Sun wasn't in the works at Nintendo,
Hmm.
but didn't get off the ground for whatever reason? And due to
Yeah,
things like NDAs, the language barrier, and
yeah.
people not wanting to ruin their career, we will never know about those pitches. That said, it is fun to dream about what could have been. Super Mario 64, July 29th, 1995 build. The iceberg chart trend started with Mario 64, so it's only fitting that we end with Mario 64.
Yeah, we
We
ended
can
with
all agree
Mario
that it's a
64.
great game, but
Of
something
course,
about
now.
it is unsettling. Be it the lack of life in the castle, the endless skyboxes, the jump scares, and the fact that Bowser is always watching you. The earlier builds of Mario 64 would have been even creepier. The earliest known build of Super Mario 64 dates all the way back to the July 29th, 1995, when the Nintendo 64 was still known as the Ultra 64. There are conflicting reports of this build, likely due to the personalization AI of Mario 64. This recollection comes from the Mario 64 Conspiracies Wiki. This account talks of a VHS recording of the July 95 build. It had unseen areas in the final game, several visual glitches in it, and at one point Mario was swimming into an endless black, and the VHS ended with an
Oh,
error message
I've,
saying Shinsena
I
Gyakusatsu,
can't remember seeing
Sacred
that before.
Massacre in English. Other recounts of the
Oh,
95 build have found the Wario apparition
oh
in the
yeah,
game. And if you
of
couldn't
course.
tell by
So
now,
everyone
this
knows
was
that.
just a nonsense creepypasta.
The
And
Wario
if you
head,
got scared by
the
it,
Wario
I hope
operation.
you enjoyed your 13th birthday. And with that, the Lost Nintendo Media Iceberg is finished, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch all this. And well, guys, yeah, I'm gonna say, guys, that yeah, this was a fun video to watch. A fun video to do on a stream. Yeah, so yeah, that was fun. Yeah, yeah, a pretty cool, a pretty good lost media video. Him explaining like, yeah, this stuff that people didn't know, like, yeah, the stuff been lost, or one of them they've been found, apparently found, or yeah, or canceled, yeah, and lost, yeah, stuff like that. Anyways, yeah, that was a fun video to watch. But so, guys, see you guys next time, and goodbye, guys, and bye.